Okay. Last week in the opening round of the FCS playoff, Northern Iowa's offense was very much alive, while the defense swarmed their way to victory. But a fifth-seeded opponent awaits the Panthers today, featuring one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Playoff football continues next. The NCAA FCS Football Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual. The road to Frisco, Texas rolls through the Midwest. Normal, Illinois, Hancock Stadium, the setting, as Northern Iowa and Illinois State collide for the second time this year in the second round of the FCS playoffs. The field of 24 sliced down to 16 last week. Today we introduce the top 8 seeds. The winner of this game marches on next week into the quarters against the winner of Montana and Eastern Washington. Hi, everybody. Sean Kinney alongside former New York Jets head coach Al Groh. And if this was a prize title fight, then this would be the coveted rematch. A little more than a month ago, you and I handed Illinois State their only blemish. What type of challenges do these coaching staffs face this week, getting set to see one another for the second time?
Sean, a rematch always brings up the very interesting combination of stay with what was successful, but we'll come up with something that was a little bit different.
You and I will not be looking to change anything offensively, especially when they hand the football to David Johnson, one of the premier backs in all of college football.
Well, he's a terrific runner. He's one of the top 10 ground gainers in the country. He catches the ball effectively out of the backfield, and he's a very explosive kickoff return man. So he is a triple threat player.
It was a field day last week in the opener against Stephen F. Austin. Johnson with 4 touchdowns, including this 70-yard gallop through the air. He can beat you both ways. On the other side, Trey Roberson is as good as they come at the FCS level. He was taking snaps with Indiana last year at this time.
Well, he wasn't even in here in normal last year. Fuck it. See, Sean.
Last week in the opening round of the FCS playoff, Northern Iowa's offense was very much alive, while the defense swarmed their way to victory. But a fifth-seeded opponent awaits the Panthers today, featuring one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Playoff football continues next. The NCAA FCS Football Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual. The road to Frisco, Texas rolls through the Midwest. Normal, Illinois, a good look inside Hancock Stadium. 2 Missouri Valley football schools collide. Northern Iowa, Illinois State in the second round of the FCS playoffs. 24 teams sliced down to 16 a week ago. Today we introduce the top 8 seeds. The winner of this game marches on next week to take on the winner of Montana and Eastern Washington. And with that, welcome, Sean Kinney alongside former New York Jets head coach Al Groh. If this was a prize title fight, then today would be the coveted rematch because you and I handed Illinois State their only blemish this season a little more than a month ago. What type of challenges did these two coaching staffs have getting set to face one another for the second time?
Sean, a rematch always brings up some critical decisions for a coach. Stay with what was successful before, but blend in some things that were different to give it another look.
One area that has been successful for you and I has been the running game. David Johnson is as steady as they come, and he's the type of running back that can carry this Panther team deep into the postseason.
Well, he's carried him all season long in 3 ways. Obviously, he's one of the top 10 runners from scrimmage. He's a very, very capable receiver out of the backfield and a dangerous kickoff return man.
Johnson had a field day last week in the playoff opening win against Stephen F. Austin. 4 touchdowns for the Panthers senior back, and you saw him as a receiver out of the backfield. Trey Roberson on the other side, he was taking snaps for Indiana last year, but he's found a new home in Normal.
Well, he didn't even get here until August, Sean, so his progress in development since the first game of the season against Northern Iowa has been significant.
Roberson struggled in the first matchup. 2 veteran coaches, Brock Spack, the reigning Missouri Valley football Coach of the Year, Mark Farley, and the UNI Panthers about to collide.
Ladies and gentlemen, conducted by Director of the Big Red Marching Machine, Dr. Daniel A. Logia. Will you all please rise and join the performance of our national anthem?
Last week in the opening round of the FCS playoff, Northern Iowa's second time.
Sean, a rematch always brings up some critical decisions for a coach. Stay with what was successful before.
Last week in the opening round of the FCS playoff, Northern Iowa's offense was very much alive, while the defense swarmed their way to victory. But a fifth-seeded opponent awaits the Panthers today, featuring one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Playoff football continues next. The NCAA FCS Football Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual. The road to Frisco, Texas rolls through the Midwest. Normal, Illinois, a good look inside Hancock Stadium. Two Missouri Valley football schools collide. Northern Iowa, Illinois State in the second round of the FCS playoffs. 24 teams sliced down to 16 a week ago. Today we introduce the top 8 seeds. The winner of this game marches on next week to take on the winner of Montana and Eastern Washington. And with that, welcome Sean Kenny alongside former New York Jets head coach Al Groh. If this was a prize title fight, then today would be the coveted rematch because you and I handed Illinois State their only blemish this season a little more than a month ago. What type of challenges did these two coaching staffs have getting set to face one another for the second time?
Sean, a rematch always brings up some critical decisions for a coach. Stay with what was successful before, but blend in some things that were different to give it another look.
One area that has been successful for you and I has been the running game. David Johnson is as steady as they come, and he's the type of running back that can carry this Panther team deep into the postseason.
Well, he's carried him all season long in 3 ways. Obviously, he's one of the top 10 runners from scrimmage. He's a very, very capable receiver out of the backfield and a dangerous kickoff return man.
Johnson had a field day last week in the playoff opening win against Stephen F. Austin. 4 touchdowns for the Panthers senior back, and you saw him as a receiver out of the backfield. Trey Roberson on the other side, he was taking snaps for Indiana last year, but he's found a new home in Normal.
Well, he didn't even get here until August, Sean, so his progress and development since the first game of the season against Northern Iowa has been significant.
Roberson struggled in the first matchup. 2 veteran coaches, Brock Spack, the reigning Missouri Valley football Coach of the Year, Mark Farley, and the UNI Panthers about to collide. Welcome back to Normal, part of Jimmy V Week for Cancer Research on ESPN as we continue our commitment to the V Foundation and Jim Valvano's dream to defeat cancer. Take a look at the weather conditions here in Normal, Illinois. 35 degrees. That wind could be a factor. It's coming in from the north at 10 to 15 miles per hour. No precipitation expected, just cloudy skies, overcast conditions. What a job for Mark Farley. He has become the face of Northern Iowa football in his 14th year. Has guided the Panthers to 3 semifinal appearances and 1 championship appearance back in '89. Brock Spack on the other side has built this program back up to the success it once enjoyed. His 6th season running the show here in Normal. Let's see how these teams plan for success. Brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. And for you and I, it all starts with David Johnson. You see the numbers he put up last week against the Lumberjacks. 18 starters off a team that went 7-5 a year ago. And then Trey Roberson, the former Indiana Hoosier, has taken over this program. They felt he was the missing piece the past couple of years. They have the quarterback in place. Immediate dividends for the first time, striking double-digit wins in the regular season.
And Sean, both of these head coaches were highly successful defensive coordinators at their alma mater. Obviously, Coach Farley is still at his alma mater, but they've shown that you can bring a defensive philosophy and foundation to a team and also be a high-scoring offensive team. Very well blended teams between their offense and their defense.
Northern Iowa's special teams have been spectacular, and they were a huge role in the first meeting with these two teams. In fact, the Panthers special teams accounted for 14 points, a block punt return for a touchdown, and then a 98-yard kickoff return for a score. And that was one of the areas that Illinois State knew they would have to clean up here in this rematch.
And Sean, in winning the coin toss and deferring, the Panthers have chosen to have the wind at their back here to start the game.
So Schmedeke with the strong right leg and the wind at his back with a deep kick. Tevin Allen on the return, blows it out past the 25, up ahead to the 27-yard line, and we will get our first look at the number 1 offense in the Missouri Valley Football Conference, and a big reason, Trey Roberson, a 6-foot junior out of Indianapolis, spent 3 years with the Hoosiers, decided to transfer late last year after he split time with Nate Sudfeld. He did not want to go with that platoon system, wanted to be the main guy. He found a home here in Normal late July, early August. As Coach Groh mentioned earlier, he has continued to develop and blossom and now appears to be hitting his stride at the right time. Roberson, who can throw the deep ball well, fires a strike. A sliding catch made by John Mark Anderson at the 49-yard line. So a good start for Roberson as we take a look at today's impact players, and it's all about the passing game. You feel Roberson's going to have to open it up today.
Well, they just did it to start with, going play action on the first play of the game, which negates what is a very effective Panthers pass rush.
24 yards on the game's first strike. The young freshman, John Mark Anderson, and immediately Illinois State on the UNI side. Roberson with the read, and they give it to Marshawn Coprich, and he gets 3 or 4. Oh, yeah, lost in all of this talent, the reigning Missouri Valley Football Conference Offensive Player of the Year, Coprich. What a season for the junior.
Over 1,600 yards rushing and 21 touchdowns. Amongst other things that are very similar between these two teams, it'll be a battle between two highly productive tailbacks.
Third in the FCS, 1,683 yards, closing in on a school record this year, just 60 yards away from Illinois State's all-time single-season rushing mark. Roberson to throw for the second time, flush from the pocket. This is where he's dangerous. They'll float it down the side. Incomplete. Good coverage downfield. It was Coprich, but he was all guarded by McMakin.
Well, watch him spin out to his left, Sean. This is something that he's very good at. One of the key things for this Panthers pass rush is to keep Roberson within the pocket and not let him get to the outside. He throws very well on the run, either left or right. Now, this third down, this is a situation where the Panthers have been particularly effective I would anticipate zone coverage in this particular case with a four-man pass rush and games up front.
Keep an eye on Cameron Meredith, number 19. He's split to the bottom of the screen. Roberson's looking his direction, feels the heat, fires over the middle, and it's caught. And Meredith slips free, down to the 10, finally caught by Dorliant. But a third down conversion, and we talked about it. Cameron Meredith, the hottest receiver right now on this team.
Well, he certainly is, and Roberson looks like a real leaguer on this play, stepping up in the pocket, throwing the ball on the move. Meredith has really come on here late in the season, and watch how he snatches the ball away from his body without being a body catcher. Now this is the part of the field, Sean, in which Roberson really comes to the front as a ball carrier himself. Option plays, quarterback keepers, they really utilize his skills as another runner in the red zone.
And Roberson's going to be forced to use an early timeout. He spotted something to his disliking, so he'll talk it over with Brock Spack and company.
Illinois State, that's their first.
Well, you don't like to use a timeout this early in the half, Sean, but when the ball's in the scoring zone like this, you want to make sure that everything is right, that nothing's amiss, and that clearly was the intent.
Spack's Redbirds on the move. They'll have it first and goal when we come back. The NCAA FCS Football Championship is brought to you by North. The NCAA FCS Football Championship is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. An impressive opening drive for the Redbirds as they get set for their fifth play. They have it at the UNI 10. After the timeout, Roberson will hand the ball off, and not much for Copperidge over the left side. He was brought down by Alice, who had a dominant performance in the win against Stephen F. Austin last week.
Yeah, Sean, the matchup between the defensive tackles O'Brien and Williams of UNI and the inside three, the center and the two guards, led by the center, Robert Rafi, is going to be critical to the ability of the Redbirds to run the ball.
Xavier Williams, a two-time first-team all-conference player, controls the middle, both he and O'Brien. Second and goal from the 8. Roberson gives it, and giving ground is Copperidge. He's able to slither his way ahead for positive yardage. UNI had initial penetration. Copperidge did a nice job just to pick up 2.
Oh, he certainly did. He shows his vision and his lateral quickness and his balance on this particular run and turning what could have been a loss into a positive play.
Here's where Roberson is dangerous as a runner. You get him outside the pocket, the ability to throw or run.
And if they get single coverage out on the right, they like to throw the fade out there.
Roberson looks, slant, caught, touchdown, Redbirds. It's Cameron Meredith.
Well, he got the single coverage over there, Sean, and he started out running the route as if he was running the fade. He took the defensive back to the outside and then broke it off inside into a slant route against isolation coverage, and Roberson put the ball in the exact right place, which was up high where only his man could make a play on it. Really a beautifully run drive by Trey Roberson.
Nick Ossicker with the point after. And how about the start for Illinois State? Cameron Meredith with his 7th touchdown catch of the year. Redbirds fire the opening salvo.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense, number 1. It's 15-yard penalty. Be assessed on the kickoff. That is his first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
Cameron Meredith started his career at Illinois State actually as the quarterback. He was the backup quarterback in 2012. He has made the adjustment to receiver, and you see the numbers that he has put up entering this second-round postseason game. 3 consecutive 100-yard contests and 2 big grabs on the opening drive.
Well, at 6'3", and with the athletic ability that you mentioned, Sean, gives him the skills to really go up and get the ball. And Roberson knows that, and he puts it up there where it's very difficult for a shorter defensive back to defend.
A bouncing kick picked up near the goal line by Chad Owens. Owens takes it out to the 20, and let's see how UNI responds, trailing early in this game. And another athletic quarterback getting set to take the field in Breon Carnes.
Well, yes, he is. He's come on very strong in the second half of the season since being made the starter. He's an excellent runner with the ball, an erratic passer, Sean, and he's going to have to elevate his pass game against the Redbirds today.
Carnes has never lost as a starting quarterback at Northern Iowa. He enters today 9-0 as a starter. He's going to throw off the gun here, and it is tipped away, incomplete. Tevin Allen able to knock it away from Chad Owens. As we take a look at the offensive side of the football, Braden Lehman has showed the ability to make the big catch. A healthy Brett LeMaster is good news for UNI. On the defensive side, 2 hard-nosed disruptors.
Well, they certainly are. Pat Meehan is a downhill linebacker, will take blockers on, and Prate is a guy you better like football if you're playing across from him.
UNI stacks receivers at the bottom. Quick throw out to Owens. He'll make the catch, but nowhere to go. He is surrounded. The 4-year starter, Mike Banks, making his 47th consecutive start in on the stop.
He's from a real football family. He comes from the great high school football program of Mount Carmel in Chicago, and his dad is a longtime NFL official. Four wide receivers in for the Panthers.
Illinois State rushes 4. Looked like Carnes was hit, and it falls incomplete, and it's a 3-and-out for the Panthers.
Well, in this early part of the game, Sean, we've seen what might differentiate these teams throughout the course of the game, and that is the pinpoint passing by Roberson for the Redbirds and the erratic passing by Carnes for the Panthers.
Hogan Beegler on the punt, averaging 41 yards a kick this year. Line drive kick with that win. Neblett picks it up on the first bounce, and then he is jumped on at the 33. 34-yard punt. Illinois State behind the Trey Roberson strike on top early, 7-0. Help us beat cancer. The V Foundation awards 100% of direct donations and net proceeds of events to fund cancer research. Log on today to www.jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4JIMMY-V to donate today. Drive number 2 of this opening quarter for Illinois State. From the 33-yard line, Roberson on first down. They give it to Kopperich, and then he is jarred. Brett McMakin with a solid hit.
Well, Sean, this Jimmy V week really is very personal for me, too, in that I had the privilege of calling Coach Valvano a friend while he was the head coach at North Carolina State, and I was the head coach at Wake Forest. And his passing touched me deeply, and actually I wore today, just coincidentally, my Jimmy V Foundation hat that I have gotten for contributing to that.
So motivational, so inspirational. And his legacy, his dream continues each and every year. Roberson on the money again. Anderson with a second catch as he is banged around, finally corralled at midfield, 14 more yards.
And every one of these 4 completions, Todd, Sean, have these 2 things in common. One, they are inside breaking routes. Every catch has been heading towards the middle of the field, and every one has been delivered with pinpoint accuracy, so the receivers really don't even have to extend for the ball.
Roberson 4 of 5 for 79 yards. He's nearly matched his production in the first meeting. He really struggled. 15 of 35 for 127 against UNI the first go around. Big hole, and there goes Coppridge into the secondary, just carrying defenders. Finally brought down at the 29.
In this game, Sean, the Panthers have gone almost exclusively with a two-deep secondary, which means they're not adding any defensive backs to the box to stop the run. Two things they're going to have to get corrected. They're going to have to keep receivers out of the middle of the field, and they're going to have to add somebody to the box to stop this powerful running game.
And they're going to have to start tackling. We saw Meredith run through some arm tackles. Same situation there for Coppridge.
This guy's no fun to tackle.
Inside the 30-yard line, Illinois State moving the football. Roberson, a deep drop, has all sorts of time. Deep ball downfield, caught in the end zone. They're going to say a yard shy. Anderson with the catch as the defender never made an adjustment.
Well, there's your back shoulder throw. When the defender runs with him, in that particular case, it was the nickel man, Deshaun Dexter, who was in there, and that's a tough matchup with a hybrid-type safety against one of the fastest players on the team, and that's John Mark Anderson, who in high school ran the 4x100, so we know what kind of speed he's got.
Already 3 catches for Anderson. He entered the game with 5 catches all season. They bring in the blocking fullback. This is Coppridge, stood up, but keeps the surge going. And this game, all Illinois State early.
The Redbirds go to their power formation with multiple tight ends and a fullback. One thing you can count on the goal line, they're going to run this load power, particularly to the left side of their offensive line, which is the strongest side of their offensive line. Very impressive in every aspect so far, Sean, for the Illinois State Redbirds offense. They've run the ball with authority. They've thrown the ball explosively.
5 plays, 67 yards. Marshawn Coppridge with his 22nd rushing touchdown of the year. Trey Roberson already with over 100 yards through the air, and Illinois State off to a strong start. Speaking of strong, the Missouri Valley Football Conference sent 5 teams into this year's fray of the FCS playoffs. All 5 still kicking in round 2. North Dakota State, Illinois State shared the conference crown. You see UNI behind a strong second half at 6-2. South Dakota State, Indiana State, the other 2 playoff qualifiers.
This is a strong conference, gone with a great tradition, great rivalries over a long period of time. This is a hard-nosed, physical football conference.
Just to give you an idea how tough the Missouri Valley Football Conference was this season against other FCS conference opponents. So non-conference FCS opponents this year, the Missouri Valley Football 26-1. That one loss was South Dakota losing to then number 4 Montana in Missoula 28-20. And South Dakota, as you saw in that last graphic, did not win a game, yet they pushed one of the powers in the Big Sky to the wire. Little squib kick, short and shallow against the wind. Johnson fields with momentum. The very dangerous David Johnson takes it out to the 45. And let's see how the Panthers respond. Boy, you talk about taking a shot to the gut early on the road.
Well, the Redbirds, remembering how Johnson ran the kickoff back 96 yards for a touchdown against them in the first game, tried the little pop fly kick to try to keep him from getting a solid run back going, but the wind held the ball up, and Johnson got the ball just like Coach Farley hoped that he would. 3 passes to start the game for the Panthers. I'm sure they want to get Johnson established on this drive.
Lehman is the tight end to the right, and they will Handed off to Johnson. Not much to work with. He'll push on to the Redbird side, brought down by Prate.
Well, Prate, as he was in the first game, is going to give them a lot to handle in the middle of the defense for the offensive line from Northern Iowa.
Johnson's going to line up to the right of Carnes on second down. UNI in an early hole on the road. That's Owens who goes deep in motion in the backfield. Carnes with a pocket, throws, incomplete. He was looking for Fountain. Good coverage by Josh Birch.
Well, Birch played that perfectly, Sean, and then he got inside position on the receiver and shielded him from the ball.
Mentioned these two teams met a little more than a month ago. UNI behind a strong fourth quarter. A couple of special teams touchdowns. Both featured backs had good days. 3 touchdowns for Coppridge. Johnson was well over 100. But a different looking Illinois State team early on today. 3rd and 8. Here comes the pressure. Carnes throws, has Lemaster, but he overshot him, incomplete. The safety, McCoy, was in the neighborhood. And it's another 3 and out for UNI.
He didn't really have much of a window here, as the Redbirds like to do on 3rd and long, Sean. They went to a 2-deep zone. The corner got good reroute and jam to disrupt the entry, and the safety got over the top. Really a tight window to get it in there. And Carnes is not that type of pinpoint passer.
Eagler had trouble with the snap. Gets a good kickoff, a high spiraling kick. Neblett with the fair catch at the 12.
Well, one of the key numbers at this point, obviously given the amount of time of possession that the Redbirds have been a contributing factor, but after 8 minutes of play, Sean, David Johnson has carried the ball 1 time.
Mentioned for the first time in the postseason, the top 8 seeded squads all in action today. You get a bye with the 24-team format in the first round last weekend. New Hampshire out of the Colonial, North Dakota State, 3-time defending champion, Jacksonville State from the Ohio Valley Conference. A lot of people like Eastern Washington. There you see Illinois State, the number 5 seed, after a 10-1 regular season. Co-champions of the Missouri Valley football. At the 13, Roberson's going to throw deep downfield. Meredith makes the catch. Was he inbounds? Yes, he was. We'll say he dropped a foot in at the 37.
And Coach Farley's right there, and he's helping the officials with his opinion. We can see that the ball is thrown up high, taking advantage of Malcolm's height.
You see Illinois State rush up to the line. They wanted to get a playoff before Farley could challenge, and Mark was able to get the challenge and take a second look at it upstairs.
3-second timeout. Ball.
Now, this is something that Trey Roberson really likes, that with Cameron Meredith on the sideline to his left, while he's a very good thrower in every respect, Sean, he has shown throughout the course of the season that his greatest accuracy is on throws to his left. And he's very confident in making that throw in isolation. And when there's press coverage, as there was, then he'll throw the ball up high where Cameron Meredith can use his height and long arms.
See what the Redbirds have accomplished for the first time in school history. A double-digit win regular season. The one blemish was UNI. They did not play North Dakota State the way the schedule broke down this year. The Bison and the Redbirds did not meet, so a 3-time reigning FCS champion absent from this year's schedule. Some high-scoring games throughout the course of the year.
Redbirds are showing the Panthers a lot of different formations. In this case, on first down, they go with a 4-open formation, no tight end lined up tight.
UNI loses a timeout as the catch will stand for Illinois State. Meredith with his 3rd grab, and saw the yardage discrepancy between these two teams in this first quarter. And Mark Farley just trying to find some answer defensively right now.
Well, the answer is going to be to win defensively against some of these blocks, and Xavier Williams, who is a tough man to handle in the middle at the defensive tackle position, was a big winner on that previous play. Panthers staying with their two deep defense.
Look at the time for Roberson. Drifts right, has Barton out in front. He'll tuck it across the field. Roberson tripped up at the 46-yard line.
Well, there's a perfect example of his versatility as a runner. He's got real good speed. And watch on the outside to the left as the rusher ducks inside, showing unawareness there, Sean, of his ability to get to the outside. You've got to keep this guy in the pocket. He's too dangerous as a runner, but also as an excellent thrower on the run when you let him out of the pocket.
He put up good numbers in the turbulent waters of the Big Ten Conference in Indiana. He's brought that same success here to the FCS level. Third down, and Coppridge will move the chains. On to the UNI side, brought down by Kilfoy, the physical safety at the back end for the Panthers.
The Redbirds started in an unbalanced formation, which caused the Panthers to overshift to the offensive right, but then brought O'Shaughnessy back in motion to balance it up, and they gained a numbers advantage.
See the first downs. UNI shell-shocked, I'm sure, with the way this game has started. A 14-0 outburst for the Redbirds. Roberson with time misfires a rare off-target throw. He was looking for Anthony Warren.
And this is the first time that we've seen UNI come down with a one-high safety and play a three-deep zone. And that's one of the ways to try to close off these inside passing lanes that Roberson has taken such advantage of.
Roberson 6 of 8 for 132 yards. Already 5 more passing yards than he had the entire game in the first meeting with UNI. Second down give, they stretch it to the short side. Coppridge, not much. He's knocked out by the coach's son, Jake Farley.
Yes, Brett McMakin is also a very, very versatile player. He plays on the line of scrimmages, a defensive end. He plays off on the slot as a linebacker. Was able to get out there and force him to the edge.
UNI fans trying to make some noise. They have a good contingency from Cedar Falls here. Illinois State has been tough, 3 for 3 on third downs.
And it appears that this will be another two-deep zone coverage by UNI, which is what it is.
Panthers rush 4. Roberson steps up and has his man. The tight end O'Shaughnessy with the catch at the Panther 28.
Well, that's good scouting and good preparation by the Illinois State coaches, first of all, and then Roberson knowing what was going to happen. What do I mean by that, Sean? UNI has a strong tendency to play a two-deep zone, often called Tampa 2, and that's the exact right place to go with the ball. That's the biggest opening. Roberson knew exactly what to do with the ball.
Everything clicking early for Brock Spack. Another third down conversion. See the two tight ends, Joe Farmer and O'Shaughnessy. They'll give it to Coppridge, and he does a lot of dancing. A marker comes in. Spun down by Adam Reth. And let's see what the marker's all about. UNI indicating it's a hold.
Yeah, it looks like maybe Joe Farmer, the second tight end in the game, got a little sloppy with his hands.
Offense, number 80. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Greg Wilson, today's referee, and the holding call against the Redbirds.
The Coppridge has come out of the game to take a little rest in this particular case, and as they will do on occasion, they'll come in with a backup tailback, and in this case it's Jamal Towns who's done a nice job when he's come in the game.
Towns is a sophomore from nearby Harvey, Illinois, out of Thornton High School. Doesn't see a lot of time. Two tight ends still in there. They've brought in Clements now as a second blocking tight end. Roberson's going to throw off a play fake. Little wobbler, but it's effective. Meredith able to get position in front of DeAndre Hall, and Cameron Meredith with his fourth catch and some pleasantries here in the postseason being exchanged.
Nice route running by Meredith off the play action fake. He pushes the defender deep, makes him get out of his back pedal, and then breaks it off and runs a sharp comeback route where he had a lot of separation. And once again, Sean, that pass right on the mark, an easy ball to catch. This Trey Roberson is the hottest thing in this cold stadium today.
4 catches, 78 yards from Meredith, and we still have 3 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Here comes the delayed blitz. They pick it up over the middle, right on cue. Farmer makes the catch, the tight end, just his 3rd reception of the year.
Well, Farmer started outside, then broke it back inside. He came in underneath the zone coverage. We're seeing a consistent pattern of inside breaking routes thrown with perfect precision and right on the body of the receiver, so they're easy catches. They're really exploiting the inside of the UNI zone defenses. The Redbirds have gone unbalanced here, Sean. They balance it up with the tight end coming back over.
3rd and a yard. Roberson's going to keep it. Option look, and he will pick up the first down. Roberson with some patient running. Busher able to corral him, but not before the Redbirds convert yet again on 3rd down.
Well, both short yardage and red zone, both of which were in play here, is when Trey Roberson really comes into a play as a runner.
UNI desperately needing somebody to make a play on the defensive side. The Redbirds inside the red zone, having success both rushing and throwing the football in this opening stanza. Kopperich with the carry, and even on 1st down, he goes 3-4 yards without even getting touched. Alice in on the stop.
Well, the threat of Roberson right there as a runner came into play as Alice, the defensive end, had to stay out wide for the possibility that Roberson would pull the ball, and that's why there was a natural crease in the defense before he could close it off.
Brock's back, knowing his team is dominating the line of scrimmage in this first quarter, and he is a red-hot quarterback. Roberson on a design draw up the middle. Tough yardage as he gets inside the 5. Should be close to another first down.
Well, here we got a perfect example, Sean, of the Redbirds utilizing Trey Roberson as a red zone runner. So even though there's only one designated back in the backfield, obviously in Kopperich, a back that has to draw a lot of attention, there are actually 2 runners back there in the red zone, with Trey Roberson being just as explosive. Nice call by Kurt Beathard, the offensive coordinator.
You have the entire playbook to choose from here. Illinois State has set it all up. 1st and goal from the 5. And it will be Roberson on a fake, trying to scoot to the outside. McMakin chasing, able to keep containment and force him out of bounds. .232 yards for Illinois State, 3 yards for UNI in this opening quarter. Illinois State looks like they're going to be content to switch fields and get the wind at their back for the 2nd down play. The Redbirds have never lost here at Hancock Stadium since they renovated this facility last year. A perfect 7-0 at home this year, and they are looking good after 15 minutes. Meredith started the scoring. Kopperich finished it. Illinois State by 14 after 1. NCAA FCS Football Championship is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. A dominant 15 minutes from Normal, Illinois for the hometown Redbirds. 25 plays to UNI's just 6 in the opening quarter. It's the Redbirds looking for their third score. Coprich, who has 1 touchdown, gets the call and he stood up at the 2, setting up a third down for the Redbirds.
Here come the big boys for Illinois State. They're going to go to their big goal line lineup. What they have favored in this situation, Sean, is the power play to the tight end side. It wouldn't be surprising, having scored on that earlier, if we see a play action pass out here on the 2-yard line.
Roberson is thrown for a touchdown. Coprich has run for the other. See the 2 tight ends, they'll switch to the left. Receiver both ways. Roberson looking right, throws underneath, caught, touchdown. It's Meredith with number 2.
Well, the same combination. Once the Redbirds went into their 3-by-1 formation to the left, the Panthers were left with playing isolation coverage out here on the offensive right, in the matchup of the 5'11" DeLorient against the 6'3" Cameron is just too much. So this time he pushed him off deep as if he was running the fade slant that he ran earlier, and then just turned around right around the goal line. Easy pickings.
Trey Roberson arrived on campus in late July. For moments like these, Illinois State with the lead.
How do you go from where you are to where you want to be? You have to have an enthusiasm for life. You have to have a dream, a goal. You have to be willing to work for it. How do you go from where you are to where you want to be? You have to have an enthusiasm for life. You have to have a dream, a goal. You have to be willing to work for it.
Founded in 1993 by Jim Valvano and ESPN, the V Foundation, as we take time to recognize all the great work by Jim and how his work is carried on through the years. Speaking of work, UNI with a lot of work to do. Down 21-0 on the road in the second round FCS playoff battle. David Johnson on the return. Johnson gets to the near side, escorted out at the 27. The 2014 NCAA Division I Football Championship continues next weekend. All games will be on the Watch ESPN app and ESPN3. For more information, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 89 NCAA championships.
Offensively here, Sean, UNI just has to take the approach that the game is just starting. They can't look at the scoreboard. They've got to get something established, and that number one thing has got to be David Johnson.
They will try to get Johnson going, but he has nowhere to go. Teddy Corwin down the line with penetration.
Well, Teddy Corwin's an All-Missouri Valley Conference defensive selection. He's effective against the run. He's a terrific pass rusher, and he was just too athletic on that particular play to be blocked.
7 plays, a grand total of 3 net yards for the UNI offense in this first half. They give it to Johnson up the middle, and not much. He scrapes ahead to the 32-yard line, brought down by Braden Prate.
Yes, you mentioned Braden Prate right at the top of the broadcast here, Sean, about what a factor he's been in the middle of the line, and very physical player. These third and longer situations are exactly what UNI wanted to avoid against a very good third down defense. They're going to press the outside receivers.
Here comes the pressure up the middle. Carnes throws, and a nice adjustment is made on the back shoulder, and UNI picks up the play that they so desperately needed. Vereen with the reception.
Very nicely thrown. Vereen is the most explosive deep threat, and it was press coverage on the outside, man for man, okay, with Vereen against the shorter 5'7" Mike Banks, and in that case, Carnes emulated Roberson.
23 yards on the strike. Let's see if that puts a little life into the UNI offense. Not here. Johnson swallowed up at the line of scrimmage. David Perkins, the former Ohio State Buckeye, in on the stop. Mentioned the success at the FCS level. It starts with recruiting, but both these teams have been aided by transfers as well.
Well, they have. There are a lot of fellas doing a really good job for these teams that were FBS recruits and had success on that level.
The read, Carnes elects to keep it, makes a couple of defenders miss, and Carnes showing some of his athleticism. He still doesn't quite look 100% though, and Mark Farley mentioned he's been fighting a bum ankle.
He doesn't have the explosiveness that we have seen, but they're going to have to utilize his skills on the edge, either pulling the ball on read plays like that or out on the edge on sprint outs and bootlegs. That's where his skills really show the best, Sean.
Speaking of transfers, he started his career at Nebraska, was behind Taylor Martinez, then Bo Pelini switched him to receiver, and that's when he decided to leave Lincoln and explore his options, and they have located him at Cedar Falls. And we mentioned he has been tough as a starter, 9-0 as a starter ever since taking over for Sawyer Cole-Morgan last year because of injury, and then taking the job halfway through the season this year.
Well, Brandon Prate at left defensive tackle on that play just dominated Trevor Hansen, the guard, to get penetration into the backfield and force a 1-yard loss. This is a very physical inside defensive line for the Redbirds.
Carnes, the Manatee High School product, powerhouse program down in Florida. He's going to throw over the middle, looking for Lehman, and it's jarred free, incomplete. Banks was in the vicinity along with Pat Meehan.
Well, he just left the ball on the back hip, okay, the right hip of the tight end Lehman. We can see it right there, and that gave Banks the opportunity to come from the outside in and make a play on the ball. Had the ball been thrown, Sean, to the upfield shoulder, it would have kept it away from Banks.
Is this 4-down territory to get 11 yards?
With this score here in particular and the wind in the face of the field goal kicker, I would certainly think so.
And Schmedeke is the top kicker in all of college football for UNI.
4 wide receivers.
Carnes is going to have to use a timeout with the play clock dwindling.
Timeout, Northern Iowa. Also immediate timeout.
The Panthers use a timeout. 3rd and 11 for Breon Carnes, trying to get back into this second-round matchup. Illinois State on top, 21-0 over Northern Iowa. I want to remind you, coming up at the half, the Ivy League heist. What exactly happened in the fabled Yale-Harvard series back in 2004? You won't want to miss it. Plus, we'll take a look at some of the great entrances in college football, all coming up. 3rd and 11 for UNI. The Panthers in 4-down territory from the Redbird 37. Carnes throws, caught by Johnson, but he is tackled immediately. The veteran, Mike Banks.
They motioned Johnson out to create an empty set, had him in the slot to the short side of the field. The Redbirds know when he's out of the backfield, he's out there as a principal receiver. They were playing a 2-deep zone, which had Banks sitting in the flat. He knew what was coming. Strong tackle brings up 4th down and a long 5, short 6.
I know it's early, Al, but UNI needs this desperately to keep this drive alive and try to withstand this early storm at Normal. 4th and 5 for the Panthers. Carnes is going to look left, double clutch, throw, incomplete. Overshot his man. He was looking for Vereen.
Well, that corner flat combination, Sean, is what you want to throw against a 2-deep coverage. They get a little bit of isolation against the safety. There's a window there. Carnes is just not pinpoint enough to get it in.
Mark Farley's offense turned away, and it looked like maybe they had something started.
Now with the Redbirds back on offense, Sean, Kurt Beathard, the offensive coordinator, in his first year here at Illinois State, has obviously planned to exploit the matchup out here on the corner with Cameron Meredith on the shorter Panther corners.
They stretch play it to Cockridge, and look at the yards after contact. That just doesn't happen against UNI. But we've seen it numerous times in this first half.
Well, not only has Meredith dominated out there as a receiver, but he used his 6'3" size against the 5'11", 176-pound corner, DeLorient, and really opened the lane for Cockridge to bounce the ball outside. This is a heck of a game so far overall for Cameron Meredith.
Cockridge starting to get his yards, 11 carries, 49 yards. For the Missouri Valley Football Conference Offensive Player of the Year. This time they stretch it left side. Not much, really, for the first time. Xavier Williams, we mentioned the 2-time first-team all-conference down tackle for the Panthers.
Yeah, Xavier played that block with real nice leverage, used his hands well, got separation, pushed the blocker down into the ground. He was in perfect position on the cutback. You got to be there right away on these cutbacks with Cockridge, because he's got really good vision. He's a one-cut runner who's going to go north and south towards the goal line. Now, we have 3 receivers over here to the left.
Roberson to throw for the first time on this drive. Slips away from 2 Panther rushers and now is forced to throw it away. Busher was closing in.
The UNI pass rush was extremely effective in the first matchup between these two teams. That's only the second time there's been significant pressure on Roberson, and in each case he used his athletic ability to at least avoid a sack and a negative play.
What do you see as the main difference in that category for Illinois State? Why the improvement today?
It's really an execution, man against man circumstance, Sean. It's been 4-man rush against the offensive line.
Illinois State looking to go 7 for 7 on 3rd downs. Roberson lets it fly, and it's caught at the 38-yard line. Terrific concentration by Scott Hugh, the senior from Aurora.
A significant comparison also, because this is a very similar 3rd down pattern to the one that the Panthers just threw on the previous 4th and 6. And the difference between the quarterback's ability to stand in the pocket, read the coverage, and throw the ball to the appropriate window is very apparent. 2 plays that really highlighted what's been the big difference in this game so far, or one of the major differences, Sean, is the quarterback play.
Roberson is spreading it out as well. 10 completions to 4 different receivers as they attend to an injured Panther. Looks like that's the safety, Ray Mitchell.
There were, against that zone coverage, there were really multiple players open in really some of the same places on the field that they have been the whole game.
Take a look and try to see what happened to Mitchell. It happened on the collision there with Kuhn. Didn't look like anything real violent. So hopefully Mitchell's able to go. He's a key cog in that secondary. A couple of interceptions this year. He had a record-setting day at the Unidome last year with 2 pick sixes against Western Illinois. He's a playmaker, a senior from Irving, Texas. Here comes a delayed blitz. Roberson flush and still hits. Finds Warren at the 34-yard line.
Well, the Panthers tried to switch up here. They go to a 3-man rush, then try to add a linebacker late. You can see over here on the offensive left that Ailes is probably pulled back inside by the offensive left tackle, who gets away with hands extended.
With this front line for UNI, with McMakin, O'Brien, Williams, and Alice, these are guys that have been able to generate pressure. UNI is not a real blitz-heavy team because they can get pressure from those 4-down tackles.
Well, you're right, Sean. That's been a formula for defensive success throughout.
Roberson looking, and he is forced to get rid of it. It's drugged down by Alice, who finally was able to crack through. They haven't had many shots at Roberson in the backfield, but that time Alice got through.
Yeah, he was wanting to throw a screen pass back over to the other side of the formation. The runner could not get out and get clear, so he just flushed out to his right and eventually took advantage of the rule, allowing him outside the tackle box to throw the ball away. We've now got a critical 3rd down situation, which is probably in 4-down territory. We have some confusion in the Panthers front. But they were unable to make the 3rd down nickel substitution that they wanted to make.
It's been that type of day for UNI. Illinois State will have it 3rd and 6 when we come back. (21-0) Illinois State on top. 7:37 to play in the first half. Second round of the 2014 FCS Championships. 24 teams started a week ago with the aspirations of making it to Frisco, Texas. 24 teams spanning out over 11 different conferences. The winner of this game meeting up with the winner of Eastern Washington and Montana. Those two teams kick off a little bit later on. 3rd down and 6 for Roberson. Look at the time. Down the middle, overshot his receiver. Anderson was open. 4th down coming up for the Redbirds as we take a look at the other half of the brackets. Jacksonville State out to an early lead on Casey Keeler's Sam Houston State program. 3-time defending national champ North Dakota State in a rematch against South Dakota State. The Bison defeated the Jackrabbits earlier this year, 37-17. Quarterfinal action next weekend on the ESPN networks.
John, as you commented, he had a lot of time to throw it. And in the first matchup, right tackle Jermaine Barton, the transfer from Miami, had a rough time. He's clearly been challenged. His competitive spirit has been challenged. I'm certainly by the circumstances.
30
but probably by his coaches also, and he's really doing a nice job over there against whoever UNI tries to put up against him.
They mentioned Barton, the big right tackle, the senior out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He has big upside. He's caught the attention of some NFL teams. According to Coach Brock Spack, will probably be more of an interior guy at the next stage if that's the angle he elects to pursue. As we take a look at the Illinois State Redbird history, located right here in Normal, the oldest public university in the state of Illinois. Enrollment close to 19,000, making their 5th NCAA appearance. So they're going to send out the kicker with the wind at his back. Nick Ausicker, who's long this year, is 41. Does not have the length, and it falls well shy. Do you like that call there, Al?
Well, he's on the 35-yard line. Punting the ball is not something you would prefer to do. They decided that with 4th down and 6, it was a little longer than they wanted to go. Yeah, I don't have any complaint with that, Sean. You know, you're trying to score points. You got the lead. Your defense is in complete control of the other team, so field position is not a critical issue at this point.
Take another look, and let's see if this ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage, and it was.
Well, it looks like it might have been Xavier Williams. In 2012, Sean, he had 5 blocked kicks. So this guy's got a good knack for getting that hand up there, and he did a nice job with that.
Imperative for the Panthers to get some points before halftime. David Johnson has not had much daylight all afternoon. He gets 2. Crate again, another stop. Just haven't seen a lot of this Illinois State defense because they simply haven't been on the field.
You know, we highlighted David Johnson in the pregame as being a very explosive player, which he clearly is. And as you said, Sean, there's not been much daylight, and there's an old saying in defensive football, these running backs all run the same when there's no hole. And the Panthers' offensive line has not been able to create any creases for David Johnson.
8 100-yard games this year for Johnson. The all-time greats at UNI. Carnes down the middle looking for his tight end, incomplete.
Yeah, a nice pre-snap look here by the Redbirds, bluffing the blitz with Dunmore, who's the slot linebacker. He plays out on the wide receivers, created a little confusion, showed one coverage pre-snap, came out of it into a different coverage after the snap of the ball. Carnes didn't throw that ball with much conviction.
Just doesn't look real confident right now, does he? Body language. 3 of 10 for 29 yards. 3rd down, the Redbirds rush 4. Carnes sack. Perkins got a piece of him back at the 29.
Sean Perkins, number 4, with a nice move on the outside, really uses his hands well to knock the offensive tackle's jam off him. He was in the game participant for Ohio State as a true freshman, Sean, and rushed for 1,300 yards as a high school senior. So that athletic ability matched up against an offensive lineman is a big advantage in his respect.
Not a good kick by Biegler, but he will get the fortuitous bounce as the Panthers special team unit touches it at the 29. And I just don't think Breon Carnes is at full speed. You saw him limping off the field, and even on that last play, a healthy Carnes does not go down on that contact from Perkins.
Well, most likely that's exactly true, Sean. This is not the athletic player that we've seen previously, but besides that, the pass rush was still intense, showing the dominance of the Redbirds' defensive line and the inability to run the ball has really put the game in Carnes' hands, and that's not the way UNI has operated best. It's been when the ball can be with David Johnson most of the time.
Remember, the backup is Sawyer Cole-Morgan, who has been a starter past couple of years. He is the more accomplished of the two as far as throwing the football. They hand it off to Coppridge over the left side. Mitchell, who's checked back in, along with Williams, able to bring him down. We saw Mitchell leave the game on the last series, but he apparently is all right. The safety in on the stop.
Well, that's the stretch play, okay, where the runner has the intent initially to take the ball to the edge and then break it back to the inside. Xavier Williams, who we mentioned a number of times, blocked the field goal, has had 2 or 3 tackles beforehand, got off his block, and sealed what looked to be a big opening.
Redbirds have used the 2 tight ends in the blocking formations with O'Shaughnessy and Farmer. Roberson, a straight drop over the middle, caught. There's Meredith again. On to the Panthers side at the 46. The ball popped out late, but he was clearly down. And this connection of Roberson to Cameron Meredith, and the Panthers have no answer.
Once again, an inside breaking route by Meredith out there, in isolation coverage out of the 3-by-1 formation, and we can see McMakin, who's the flat defender in that case, simply overruns the pattern and lets Meredith come inside of him. Nice, clean throwing lane, thrown like a real pro by Roberson. This is a Big Ten quarterback playing in this game, a guy who is a true freshman, Sean, was the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week against Purdue with over 400 total yards.
Roberson misfires on first down. He actually had the highest rating in the Big Ten last year, did not have enough pass attempts to qualify. He was 83 of 138 for the Hoosiers, and he finished in a flourish. His last game wearing the Indiana uniform, a school record 6 touchdowns against Purdue. So you look at his body of work and what he has brought to Normal at this FCS level, and how a quarterback can just engineer a game, and that's what we're seeing in this first half. Coppridge over the left side, stood up by Farley, the hard-hitting middle linebacker. That's up a 3rd down.
Well, here's the inside zone play in which Coppridge just breaks it to the outside, and really the key to that play, as we saw, was number 24, Tim Guilfoy, who set the edge with his left shoulder and turned the ball back inside to the pursuit.
Illinois State 7 of 8 on 3rd downs.
Well, here's another 3-by-1 formation with isolation over on the offensive right with Meredith.
Panthers nearly get to Roberson, keeps his balance and throws it away. Schultz had the initial penetration, Carter Schultz. That threw off the timing of Roberson, and then help arrived.
Well, Carter Schultz, in this case, he does win his matchup over there on the right side against Jermaine Barton, using the same type of speed that gave Barton trouble in the first match. You know, an interesting story with Schultz here, Sean, is he only played 8-man football growing up in high school in Iowa.
Yeah, little town, Tripola, Iowa. 8-player football getting more and more prevalent in the state of Iowa. And the Panthers nearly got to that punt. UNI blocked the punt in the first meeting with Illinois State, and that time it was Tate Omley who nearly had number 2.
Well, that's 2 stops in a row for the defense. That's got to pep them up a little bit, and each one of those stops ended with strong special teams pressure. So as you mentioned at the start of the broadcast, Sean, special teams have been outstanding for the Panthers throughout the course of the year, and they have stepped up on the last 2 drives.
Go back to that last punt here, as the Panthers were very close to getting to it. See Omley laying out, trying to make a play, and that's what UNI needs. Down 21. You mentioned the defense playing a little bit better in this second quarter, but the offense is going to have to step up. Johnson nowhere to go. Colin Keoshin and a host of Redbirds surrounding him. Recognize that young face? Kurt Warner. He proudly wore the purple and yellow at UNI. Star quarterback for the Panthers back in the early 90s, guiding this program to playoff success. And on to have a successful career at the NFL. Spent some time with the Iowa Barnstormers. Actually, that was his key connecting piece, if you will, after leaving UNI. Had some big-time years with the Barnstormers, located in Des Moines, before finding a permanent home in the NFL. And what a career that young man enjoyed. A prolonged career. Could not meet a nicer guy, and what he has meant to the state of Iowa. His success story while he was playing with the Barnstormers, was actually an employee of a local grocery store in the state, helping pay the bills, an overnight shift, stocking the shelves, and all of his hard work paid off.
Redbirds are going to try to turn loose Corwin on the left and Perkins on the right. They're two speed rushers here on third down.
3rd and 5 for UNI. Carnes, little hitch pattern caught. Vereen makes the catch. That'll move the chains for the Panthers.
Vereen just came right down in the opening in the zone, hooked up right around the sticks. Both Vereen and Carnes knew exactly what they needed. Carnes got the ball out of his hands quickly, which negated what was a developing pass rush.
Vereen has been Carnes' favorite target. Kevin Vereen, off to somewhat of a slow start this year, had just 14 catches in the first 7 games. They then made the switch, Cole Morgan to Carnes, and Vereen has taken off. Johnson hammered. He paid the price. Dante McCoy, the safety, honorable mention, one of the South Chicago guys, a part of the recruiting trail that Coach Spack has brought back to Illinois State.
Yeah, 10 of the starters for Illinois State come from the state of Illinois. 10 of the Panther starters come from Iowa, so both of these teams are based on the recruitment of home state players.
A lot of homegrown talent both ways. We're inside 90 seconds to go. UNI without a timeout. Carnes has it deflected at the line of scrimmage. Incomplete.
That was really the first blitz of the game by Illinois State, Sean, as they brought the outside linebacker, inside linebacker kind of national pass rush in which one scrapes around from inside to outside and the other one sets the edge. Key here is another third down, Sean. I don't believe that the UNI Panthers have made a first down on first or second down. They've been forced into third down every time, and that plays to the Redbirds' advantage.
They rush 3, yet they still get to Carnes, and they get him. Perkins with the sack at the 41.
Well, this is an unfair matchup, something that the Panthers are going to have to pay attention. Perkins just has too much athletic ability as a star high school running back who's going forward against a 300-pound offensive tackle who's moving backwards. I mean, that makes sense to anybody. Sean, you don't have to be a football expert to know that a speed player moving forward has got all the advantage over a big player moving backwards.
The clock to 1:12. 1 minute, 12 seconds, please.
So they'll add 3 seconds to the clock. Illinois State using their 3rd and final timeout. They want the football one more time. Redbirds with the 3-touchdown advantage. It's been another solid season at the FCS level for a number of talented backs. How about the career of Zach Zinner for South Dakota State? Tough chore today running against North Dakota State, but Zinner leading the pack with over 1,800 yards. You see Coppridge, who we're watching today, 1,683 yards. Gus Johnson last week was bottled up for the most part. Stephen F. Austin back by this UNI defense. Neblett with the fair catch, and Illinois State will have it at the 27-yard line, but no timeouts for Trey Roberson. How creative do you get here, leading by 21?
Well, in this particular case, it's not more points that the Redbirds need. It's maintain control of the ball. Don't give the ball back to UNI.
What a half of football for the former Indiana Hoosier, Trey Roberson.
We'll see exactly on this first play here how Coach Brocksback wants to play this.
Roberson's going to keep it, and he's brought down in the backfield. Williams with the penetration.
Yeah, that was a quarterback draw, which gives us an indication that they're interested in running the clock out. Gave the semblance of a pass, but planned to run it all the way. Now with 2nd and long, we can expect another run here.
Roberson's going to throw over the middle, and a diving catch is made. Lachine Neblett with the grab.
Shows how much I know.
As they move the chains.
Another inside breaking route in the middle of the field, as I said earlier, Sean. One of the things you and I has to address immediately and then at halftime is keep these receivers out of the middle of the field with jams and reroutes.
They're going to need another 25 to 30 yards to get an Aussicker range. Probably a good thing that went through the fingertips of Meredith. Stops the clock with 23 seconds to go. And
the Panthers have now got Ray Buchanan Jr., a transfer from Arkansas, whose dad had a very successful NFL career, now in there at the left corner trying to match him up against Cameron Meredith. So they are trying to make some changes in the lineup to get a better result than what they've been able to get so far. They've got their nickel in here now, which has got Dexter out in the slot and makes McMakin a pass rusher.
Deep drop by Roberson over the middle, crossing pattern caught. This will stop the clock. To the 39 goes Lachine Neblett.
Right, and you keep saying over the middle, Sean, and that's really the story of the first half. Completions over the middle with pinpoint passing.
Clock starts up, down to 7. This might be the final play. Roberson guns toward the side. Neblett gets out of bounds with 3 seconds on the clock.
Well, that's what they wanted. They wanted to get the ball closer to a probable field goal attempt. Another really impressive-looking throw, that is, from one hash mark all the way to the sideline, and he put the ball right on the edge of the field, Sean, which those outcuts are thrown to a spot, not to the receiver, and Roberson showed good coaching and good awareness.
Nick Aussicker on to attempt a 45-yard field goal. He had a 51-yarder blocked earlier this half. 9 of 13 on the season. Placement down, kick on the way, and has enough leg, and he drills it.
Well, not only those 3 points important and impressive, but as this team goes deeper into the playoffs, they're going to find themselves in end of the half and end of the game situations that'll determine the game, and that should give them a lot of confidence to meet that the next time.
Clock management by Trey Roberson and the Redbirds. They love playing here in Normal, all over UNI in the second round of the FCS playoffs. Welcome back. Halftime in Normal, Illinois between UNI and Illinois State. Back in 2004, a group of Yale students orchestrated a prank that resulted in the entire Harvard crowd holding up something quite unflattering. Gene Wojciechowski has the story. Welcome back. Halftime in Normal, Illinois between UNI and Illinois State. Back in 2004, a group of Yale students orchestrated a prank that resulted in the entire Harvard crowd holding up something quite unflattering. Gene Wojciechowski has the story.
We're headed up to Boston, checking out the stadium for the prank. A few years ago, I was at a math conference, and I was sitting around at a table at dinner with a few other mathematicians. And one of them went to Harvard and started telling the story of this amazing prank that was, against Harvard. And at that point, I felt I had to interrupt and said, well, actually, I can tell you a lot more about that. Okay.
The idea was perfected in a dorm room.
Came up with the idea, actually, to prank them with signs at the football game. We threw some ideas out there as far as what the signs would say. We eventually settled on "We suck."
And my immediate reaction was, no, this will never work. However, the problem solver in me started thinking, well, maybe we can make this work.
The problem? They had to infiltrate Harvard Stadium without getting caught, sneak in 1,800 placards, distribute them to unsuspecting Harvard fans, and then convince those fans to prank themselves.
That's great. We thought about basically every possible thing that could go wrong and tried to come up with a solution for it.
And then you put 2 reds on top of it.
They made fake Harvard IDs and fake backstories, fake placard designs, and a 28-member fake pep squad. On November 20th, 2004, the fake Harvard students smuggled the placards into the game.
What do you think of Yale, sir?
But then, trouble.
What houses?
How many extras? How many extras? Sometimes.
Yeah.
I, just showed him the front of this ID, and all of a sudden he just ran away, and he felt so embarrassed.
Having escaped one confrontation, they couldn't risk another. It was time.
This just looks like a total mess. We have absolutely no idea if this is going to work. Look at them, they have the paper. It's going to happen. It's actually going to happen. I can't believe it.
What was once a prank became a legend.
And immediately we started hearing chants from the other side, "You suck." And I think it was at that point in time that we knew we had pulled it off.
One more time! There it goes again!
I really think it didn't matter that Harvard won because of the prank. For a lot of Yale students and alumni, we definitely won that year.
We'll have much more from the NCAA FCS Championships when we return to Normal, Illinois. Halftime continues from the NCAA FCS Championship second round between UNI and Illinois State. With its deep roots and deeper convictions, college football has developed some marvelous opening traditions. Greg Garber takes a closer look.
When I was growing up, I watched the U. I watched them come in through the smoke and get their superpowers and run on that field.
The first impression is often the most important.
Some of these kids, it was their first year playing football ever. So this was their first opportunity to burst through the banner.
In sports, the once modest pregame walk-on has evolved.
They said, all right, boys, you see that banner? Go.
Today, we have the grand entrance.
It didn't open. For whatever reason, it just did not open.
It's mom's fault these football players, these peewee kids can't break through the paper.
They killed that wall just in a different way than they were expecting to.
When you want your players to run through a banner, paper, not plastic.
Did I expect it to become this national sensation? No, but I did think it was one of the funniest things I'd ever seen when it happened.
Not every entrance comes off as grand, but they all serve a purpose.
I think that's just something that we do just to get our blood pumping, just to get, get focused. But once we come out of that tunnel, it's game on.
It's just like when you come out, that's a grand entrance. It's like a prize fighter coming into his prize fight with his music and his smoke and his whole crew, his entourage coming with him.
College football, with its deep roots and deeper convictions, has developed some marvelous opening traditions.
There's a goalpost that has a twin base foundation. I'm told one of only 2 schools in all of college football have it. Our guys understand the responsibility and the great honor it is to take the field for the Tigers.
Osceola and Renegade, that's one of the best entries in college football, in my opinion. Teams that we're playing against, you can tell from our sideline looking at them, they are ready for that.
I'm not blessed with a lot of speed, so I'm usually a middle of the pack kind of guy. I'm not going to kill myself trying to sprint out there, but just soaking it all in, kind of look around a little bit.
The centerpiece of one of the most iconic collegiate entrances, Michigan's Go Blue banner, is now safely tucked away during the week.
They keep this under lock and key. After 1998, you can't take any chances anymore. Well, in 1998, they got the banner out on a Friday night before the Syracuse game, and they came back Saturday morning. The banner was gone.
You are looking live as Michigan files onto the field here.
We put a makeshift banner up for 2 weeks.
Look at the banner they had to run under. That's bad karma.
While we got the good banner made, and then the banner that's used today is the one that was made back in 1998. We got beat that day. This banner's been through a lot. In 1973, the Ohio State football players took the field. They ran over to the banner. They knocked it down.
And they're tearing down Michigan's coveted M-Club banner. They will meet a dastardly fate here for that.
In that game, it ended up being a 10-10 tie. Every time I touched that banner, I thought about all the former players that touched that banner. You represent the history of Michigan when you take the field.
We got 30 minutes to go out there and play Miami Hurricane football.
And what happens when you don't have a history? You create one. Howard Schnellenberger did with Smoke and Mirrors at the University of Miami.
All together now, let's take it to them.
Driver for the president down there was a big fan, and he wanted to help jack it up a little bit. He said, let's get a fire extinguisher and let's blow some smoke out there, let them run through some smoke. So we did, and the better we got, the more fire extinguishers we had.
That was part of the mystique and part of the aura that was the Miami Hurricanes. It's part of the U, it's part of our mystique, and it's cool.
While all those traditions and pyrotechnics are exciting to behold, they remain external forces. Ultimately, it's the emotion that surges through the players' bodies that makes those entrances truly memorable.
There is a crescendo that's been building, and it's been pounded on and manifested and enlarged on and glorified and multiplied. And there has to be an explosion point where we get down to business and let's get them on with the game and play it and see what is reality, what is truth.
We'll be right back with more from Illinois State. Second half action is right around the corner. The Redbirds making their way back onto the field here at Hancock Stadium in Normal, Illinois. All Illinois State in the first half, 24-0 over UNI. Sean Kinney alongside Coach Al Groh. And we mentioned at the start of this broadcast, these two teams playing each other for the second time this year, so challenges on both sidelines as far as the coaching goes. What adjustments did Illinois State make in that first half compared to the first go-around?
Sean, it looks like Illinois State coaches took good advantage of the extra week in preparation to come up with a plan that has them throwing the ball a great deal on first down, okay, which is ahead of the third down situations in which last game the Panthers were so successful with their pass rush. A good job of kind of flipping the play calling, and with that, Roberson has been spectacular on target today.
Yeah, Roberson is looking like a Big Ten quarterback in this first half. He set the tone early as Illinois State scored on their first three possessions.
And all his passes, most of his passes, as we can see, were inside breaking routes. Those are the easiest balls for a quarterback to throw, and he put them right on the body of receivers, so they were easy catches.
Cameron Meredith, 6 catches for over 100 yards in the first half, including a couple of touchdown grabs. This one gave Illinois State a 21-0 lead.
Yeah, an offensive coordinator, Kurt Beathard, has seen the mismatch he can create with the 6'3" Cameron Meredith against smaller corners.
Roberson able to orchestrate a last-second drive as Ausicker drilled a 45-yard field goal. Look at the discrepancy. Total yardage, all Illinois State. 3 first downs for UNI as the Panthers look for answers in the second half. Redbirds on top, pitching the shutout. Second half action coming up next. NCAA FCS Football Championship is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Normal, Illinois, the setting for this round 2 matchup. UNI, Illinois State. Trey Roberson and the Redbirds flat out dominating the first half, but it will be the Panthers to get the football first here in the second half. And Al Groh, you look at this UNI team, a confident program playing their best football down the tail end of the season. What do they need to do to get back into it, namely on the offensive side of the football?
They need to have an attitude that they're just starting the game, Sean. Make some adjustments, try to find a way to get David Johnson free in the running game. That's the number one thing. Otherwise, they become one-dimensional, and being reliant solely on the pass game is not the way the Panthers got this far into the playoffs.
What was interesting as you studied this game, Mark Farley, with all the success he's had at UNI in his 14th year and all the playoff trips, he has never faced a team twice in the same season.
Well, the first adjustment that the Panthers have made is to make a change at quarterback, and they're bringing in Sawyer Holmgren, who was the starter early in the season and is more of a passer.
On first down, they give it to Johnson, who gets 6. Sawyer Holmgren, a junior out of Jenks, Oklahoma. He started the first 7 games of the year this season. Back in 2012, he was the Missouri Valley Football Conference and FCS Co-Freshman of the Year. He had a real celebrated season, 21 touchdown passes, was a starter for 20 consecutive games until that ended late last year because of a concussion. That opened up the door for Breon Carnes, but now it's Holmgren trying to rally the troops on the road to start this second half.
A little bit of change there in the second half. Nice job by Brock Spack and his defensive coordinator, Spence Nowinski, going to an odd front from the even front. They played the whole first half, which creates a little bit different dynamic in the middle.
See if Holmgren puts it up for the first time. 3rd down and 3 for UNI.
Yeah, let's see what they're going to do with Perkins coming off the right side.
Keep an eye on number 4. Quick throw, and it's caught. Vereen with his 3rd reception, and the Panthers with an early 3rd down conversion. Maybe a little confidence builder for Sawyer Holmgren.
Yeah, nice job on a sticks route. Got to enough depth for the first down. Holmgren playing like he's been in the game all the way. Knew what he was throwing to, got it out of his hands.
On first down, this is Johnson, and he has nowhere to go. Tripped up at the line of scrimmage. Teddy Corwin with those long arms able to reach out and grab him. And the word that Brock Spack used when describing number 87, Teddy Corwin, the same word but 3 different times. Tough, tough, and tough.
Well, that really says a statement about this whole Illinois State football team. They're a tough-minded, physical team.
Holmgren with a pocket, throws, and it's caught. LeMaster with his first catch. Brett LeMaster, the senior from Wichita. And all of a sudden, back-to-back first downs for UNI.
Sure, UNI showing the same type of play calling that was successful for the Redbirds. That is first down passing before those defensive linemen can get the pass rush cranked up.
UNI quickly onto the Illinois State side, and here's David Johnson. Truly, for the first time in this football game, showing you what he can do. A little bit of space and then making defenders miss.
Much better push off the line of scrimmage by the offensive line. We really didn't see that in the first half at all. And more aggressive on his early carries by David Johnson than he was in the first half.
See the extra step, the extra hop here for UNI coming out of the gates. Johnson swallowed up at the line of scrimmage. Banks and Corwin both have been active today.
The Redbirds countered right away, Sean, with one of their favorite put pressure on the offense calls, and that is to bring the short side corner, the corner from the sideline on a blitz, add him to the run defense.
Holmgren has hit his first 2 passes. A look to go 3 for 3, and he does. Look at the hands by LeMaster as he holds it in at the 21-yard line, and a little bit of rhythm right now for UNI.
All right, they fake the run to the left, which pulls the linebackers up, opens up a throwing lane, and Lemaster extends for the ball like a quality receiver should.
Look at these three receivers, Vereen, Lemaster, and Owens. They're all happy to be healthy, really, for the first time together. Nowhere to go on first down as UNI tried to go back to the ground game with Darian Miller. Change of pace back. Former Kansas Jayhawk was recruited by...
Well, Johnson's right up on the sideline, so there's nothing wrong with him, Sean. He's just getting a rest.
Second down and 11. Kilmorgan tries to stay hot. Wide open. It's Miller out of the backfield, and he'll have another first down. Banged out of bounds by Banks. First and goal for UNI.
Well, they fake the run. They from left to right. Swing Miller out of the backfield, and the defense collapses to the inside. They lost track of where Miller was. Cole Morgan is really into the game fast as a relief pitcher.
Miller was recruited to Lawrence by Turner Gill, then the coaching change with Charlie Wise taking over. This is Johnson zigzagging his way to the 3-yard line. Meehan brings him down. Second and goal for UNI. Rion Carnes watching along the sideline. Mark Farley making a quarterback change in the second half. And see the injured Redbird. That's Dalton Keene, the true freshman from Jacksonville, Illinois. We'll take a look at the fallen Redbird. UNI looking to get some points on the board. Part of Jimmy V Week for Cancer Research on ESPN as we continue our commitment to the V Foundation and Jim Valvano's dream to defeat cancer. Founded back in 1993 by Jimmy Valvano and ESPN. Over $130 million in cancer research grants through the years, with every single cent going toward the cancer research. You can donate today. Log on to jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4JIMMY-V to make your donation today.
Sean, this is the spot on the field where UNI likes to go to a bigger lineup, maybe with multiple tight ends. Or in this case, they've actually gotten smaller. They've taken their key tight end blocker, Lehman, out of the game. They've got 3 wide and 1 off the line of scrimmage.
Second and goal. Kilmorgan will keep it. Try to stretch the football forward. He'll be denied. Donnelly with the stop.
Well, actually,
3rd and goal.
Yeah, we had a little wildcat there, Sean, with Chad Owens, a wide receiver, coming in and taking a direct snap.
Chad Owens, a senior out of Urbandale, Iowa. Waukee High School, growing population, growing suburb of Des Moines. So 3rd and goal for UNI. Kilmorgan back in, shotgun set. Trips to the right for UNI. Johnson, the lone back. He'll get the call, and he dropped the ball. It landed in Cole Morgan's lap, and he'll go in untouched. Lady Luck never hurts when you're on the road, down 24.
Well, maybe that's a sign a few things are going the way of the Panthers here right now. The Panthers went 3 wide receivers, even though their intention from the start was to give the ball to Johnson. However, by staying spread out, they hoped to keep the Redbirds out of their goal line defense. Redbirds got excellent penetration, but the good bounce gave the Panthers their first score.
UNI is on the board. Michael Schmedeke adds the point after. How about the work by the junior quarterback, Sawyer Colmorgan? His first series, he puts UNI on the board.
This time, we ask that any current or former members of any of our armed forces please stand and be recognized. Sit down, guys. Sit down. Please join me in a round of applause to honor all of these men and women and those around the world who have and continue to give so much to our country. Ladies and gentlemen, we truly thank you.
Who's the most popular guy on a football roster? The backup quarterback, especially when they enter the game and orchestrate a 13-play, 75-yard drive, and that's exactly what Sawyer Colmorgan did. Put a little life into this UNI squad, and the Panthers are on the board for the first time with 9:50 to go in this 3rd quarter.
He sure did, Sean. Sawyer and the offense came out as if they had something to prove. Now let's see how the defense does.
See the bouncing kick against the wind, picked up by one of the upbacks in a nasty collision. One of the upbacks out to the 32-yard line. Help us beat cancer. The V Foundation awards 100% of direct donations and net proceeds of events to fund cancer research. Log on to jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4JIMMY-V to donate. This UNI defense have wreaked a lot of havoc throughout the course of the regular season, and last week in the opening round of the playoffs. Can they dial it up here? The offense has put points on the board. Roberson and the Redbirds go to work with Copprich, and look at him go into the secondary, stiff-armed out of bounds at the 45.
A big opening right there, a real good block. on the safety who's come down. And Coppridge, Sean, is almost exclusively a right-handed ball carrier, which means that stiff arm is always with the left arm. So a tackler coming from the inside to the outside, when he's going to the offensive right, better be ready to break down that stiff arm, and he used it to great advantage.
With that rush, he now has set the Illinois State single-season rushing records, supplanting Pierre Rembert back in the 2006 season. See Coppridge with the carry. He'll bang away for 4 yards. The linebackers Farley and Pusher in on the stop, along with Williams.
Well, this offense has come out as if to shake their finger over at the Panthers and say, no, 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 no. Don't think you guys are getting back in the game. Joe Farmer has come in now to once again give them the multiple tight end formation. This time, for the first time, they're balanced with a tight end on each side, which is often a play-action formation.
Number 1 rushing offense all season, and here's Roberson, and a big reason why. He explodes into the secondary, gallops to the 22-yard line. 19 more for the quarterback.
Well, he showed the kind of speed that he's got there. And not only is this guy elusive, he is fast. He was Mr. Indiana football as a high school senior. He's showing why he was a very productive player in the Big Ten and why he's a standout player in these FCS playoffs.
He was the first true freshman to start at Indiana as a quarterback, one of 12 true freshmen across college football to get the starting gig back in 2012. Undershoots his intended target on first down.
Not his best throw, certainly to the short side sideline. Comes out of there limping a little bit, as if he might have gotten stepped on that short drop that he took.
Freshman year, he threw for 900-plus yards and 3 touchdowns for Indiana. 2012, he started the season with big-time numbers, an unfortunate break in the game against UMass at Foxborough on a 2nd and goal from the 1. He broke his leg on a quarterback keeper that sidelined him the rest of the season. I was actually at that game with the call, and Roberson was doing some things. He had Indiana football talking big things just because of the production, but that rare injury, the serious break of the leg, and then splitting time last year with Nate Sudfeld, and has found a home here in Normal. And ironically enough, Sudfeld separated his shoulder this year, and the Hoosiers lost him midway through the season.
On 3rd and 9 here, Sean, now, if these Panthers are going to get back in it, they need a stop down here in the high red zone.
Pressure up the middle, and Roberson gets rid of it. He had McMakin all over him.
Well, Brett McMakin has the most sacks for the Panthers this year. As we said earlier, he's a versatile player, 3rd down rusher. Makes a sharp inside move on a 2-man game to that side. He and O'Brien collaborate on a tackle end twist, and he gets good penetration and hangs on.
So Nick Ausicker, the senior from Wildwood, 1 for 2, is connected from 45. This from 39 yards out on the far hash. Kick is on the way, and it's good. Ausicker gets 3 for the Redbirds. Illinois State counters. The senior with a 2nd field goal gives the Redbirds the 20-point lead. Trey Roberson with a couple of touchdown passes, 2 field goals from Nick Aussicker, the latest coming from 39 yards in Illinois State. Back out 20 on UNI in the second round FCS playoff matchup. You see the sun actually starting to break through the cloud cover here in Normal, Illinois. David Johnson on the return takes it out to the 28-yard line. So Sawyer Cole-Morgan out of the bullpen in the second half for UNI, goes 4 for 4, 46 yards, and he takes it from a yard out to give UNI some life offensively.
Sawyer being in the game, Sean, obviously changed the play calling for the Panthers. Let's see if Spence Nowitzki down the hall from us in the Illinois State coach's box recognizes that and maybe goes to more pressure on early downs than they have applied to this point. Four wide receivers would indicate they're going to stay with the same approach.
Pressure up the middle. Cole-Morgan hit as he threw it, and it falls incomplete.
Well, Cole-Morgan was hit by Colin Keoshin. He's an interesting story, Sean. He was a top running back in junior college. He was a running back here last year. But at 6'3", 260 pounds, he's very athletic, and with Coppridge playing tailback, clearly they didn't need a tailback. He moved the defensive line, and in 1 year has had an outstanding season.
At Normal, his third stop started back in 2011 at the College of Canyons, 2012 at Glendale Community College, and now here at Illinois State. You see the tackle made by Tevin Allen as he sent Logan Cunningham awkwardly into a midair flip. Take a look at the landing here by Cunningham.
Well, that's the type of tackling that's becoming more and more prevalent now, with the emphasis on avoiding helmet-to-helmet contact. Is the tackler coming in low and aggressive with a shoulder tackle, and he did it perfectly.
See Cunningham limping around, favoring the right leg. He has unique history with Hamilton Heights. He had the longest touchdown in the state of Indiana in 4 categories his senior year. Kickoff, rush, a reception, and interception, all 95 plus. Third down and 5 for Cole-Morgan.
Man for man for the first time.
They swing it out. Johnson makes the catch. Donnelly greets him.
Perfect call by Spence Nowinski. First time he's gone to man for man on third down, and Donnelly was right on his coverage on the guy that the Panthers like to look to on third down out of the backfield, David Johnson. Good by the coaches, good by the players.
Loss of 3 on the swing to Johnson. Alex Donnelly, 3-year player, 65 tackles on the season from his outside linebacker position. Biegler with a line drive kick, a premature fair catch signal by Nebling. Thought he might have had a chance to return it, but good starting position for Illinois State. Here's a look at the brackets. The winner of this game takes on the winner of Montana and Eastern Washington. They'll be kicking off in a little bit on ESPN3. The top seed New Hampshire with a late lead on Fordham. Chattanooga has a double-digit advantage on Indiana State. Quarterfinals next weekend on the ESPN networks. Illinois State operating from their own 40. Roberson will give it to Coppridge, looking for a little bit of room. Does not find a lot. He gets 2, maybe 3. You know, one thing that I want to mention that can't get lost with the offense success, how about the play of this offensive line? Lidke, Avaloy, Spellman, Ammons, and Barton. Much improved from the first time these two teams played.
It's a big offensive line, Sean. 4 out of 5 over 300 pounds. They've got height, a number 6'6", 6'7" players. They thought they could run the ball better than what they did in the first game, and they're living up to it today. We've got 2 tight ends, both O'Shaughnessy and Farmer on the same side on this play.
They run to the left. Coppridge gets 2. Busher, the head-hunting linebacker for UNI, in on the stop.
Well, that's a reason why it's 3rd down and 6 now, is because we've mentioned Butcher 2 plays in a row. He's an outstanding linebacker who's been quiet to this point.
You see the training staff working on Cunningham, the receiver for UNI.
Dexter comes into the game now to play over the slot, Sean, which puts the Panthers in their nickel defense. So far, this has been mostly zone coverage, which it is again.
Quick throw, and it's caught. Down the far side, O'Shaughnessy banging his way off would-be defenders. Takes it to the Panther 26.
Well, O'Shaughnessy, he's a 6'4", 245-pound tight end who's a converted wide receiver. And they put two receivers out to that side opposite the slot defender. They both go vertically against two deep zone. There's no reroute. You cannot play cover two and let the inside receiver straight down the seam.
O'Shaughnessy arrived on campus with a wide receiver body. You mentioned the former receiver. He's gained over 50 pounds and has really developed into a terrific blocking tight end. In fact, they described him a better blocker than pass route runner.
Open down the middle.
Down the seam. Touchdown, O'Shaughnessy. Pretty good route runner there.
Well, real good play calling here after a big play to come right back with another vertical play. On a first down play, Kilfoy, the safety, gets caught with his eyes in the backfield, expecting run. He should be in the middle of the field. That allows O'Shaughnessy to get over the top. This game, as mentioned at halftime, Sean, has been well planned out by the coaching staff of the Redbirds, taking full advantage of the extra practice days and planning days provided by the bye week.
Little dancing on the Illinois State sideline. Trey Roberson with his third touchdown pass. And you mentioned the preparation. Are we starting to see the advantage of that first round bye maybe a little bit here in this rematch of the two powers in the Missouri Valley football?
Sure, we are certainly witnessing it during the period of time that the UNI Panthers were game planning Stephen F. Austin, a team that they first had to familiarize themselves with. That allowed the Illinois State coaching staff to thoroughly go back and analyze once again all aspects of the earlier matchup between these two teams, really be able to chart the tendencies in that game and in subsequent games. And on both offense and defense, they are making calls to take advantage of the tendencies that became apparent to them. And when you have an offense that's got a quarterback with the skills of Roberson, a back like Coppridge, and a strong offensive line to go along with a tough-minded defense that's hard to run against, those are all the ingredients, Sean, for a team that's equipped to go deep into these playoffs.
You saw Brock Spack a few moments ago, the head coach with this Illinois State program. Spent 12 years as the defensive coordinator with Purdue. A Rockford, Illinois native, longtime Purdue D coordinator. Spent a lot of time with Joe Tiller, and that was his mentor, the former Purdue head coach. Spent some time together in Laramie at Wyoming for 2 years. He brought recruiting back to that Chicago area. One of the first things he changed as far as the culture here at Illinois State was to lock into Chicago and get some of those kids coming down south here to Normal. And then his defensive mindset, his mentality, and what he's been able to accomplish through the years with his experience on that side of the football. So UNI back in another large deficit. Sawyer Cole Morgan looking right, floats it right. Jump ball situation, but well out of bounds. Nowhere for LeMaster to work.
Right, the receiver allowed himself to get too close to the sideline, which did not allow any room for Cole Morgan to get the ball to him. You got to allow a good 5-yard area so the quarterback can throw the ball over his outside shoulder. More 4 wide receiver set.
David Johnson blew out a tire as he tried to make a cut. Loss of 3. 3rd and double digits. And I thought you hit it on the button earlier in the broadcast. UNI struggling on 1st and 2nd downs, and that's where they've been behind schedule all afternoon.
They've made very few first downs in the game, Sean, and even less on 1st and 2nd down. which has put all the burden on their passing attack. That's not Carnes' strong suit, and in this circumstance, the Redbirds are going to turn loose those pass rushers.
Perkins, here they come. Little swing pass, Johnson tackled immediately. Assignment football right now by this Redbird defense. Even the reserves, Drashane Glass, the backup safety, knowing where the playmaker was.
And it was Teddy Corwin on the two-man game. That is the defensive tackle on the right. Penetrated the guard tackle gap. There with Teddy Corwin looping around from outside to inside. The Panthers never saw him. He rushed the throw. It really was the same pattern that they threw to Johnson previously.
And a busy afternoon for Bigler as he gets a wobbler off. Again, takes a UNI bounce. So Illinois State will get the football leading by 27, winding down this third quarter. The Missouri Valley Football Conference once again proving to be the marquee conference this year. 5 teams, all 5 teams still kicking in this second round. The Colonial Athletic with 4 teams. The Big Sky and Southland each with 3, and then we welcome in the Pioneer for the very first time this year with San Diego. They were eliminated last week in the first round.
Now these two conferences historically being strong throughout the course of the season, and particularly in these FCS playoffs. A lot of national championships between these two conferences.
Steady dose of Marshawn Copperidge with this large lead winding down the third quarter. Roberson a play fake, home run ball, juggler deep downfield looking for Neblett, incomplete. There is a marker as Ray Buchanan and Neblett were jockeying for position.
I think rather than pass interference, they're going to call defensive holding on this, with Buchanan hand checking the receiver and keeping him from getting to full speed.
Pass interference, defense number 6, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, we see Buchanan over here on the left. He runs out of the screen. Okay, really, this looks to me like a 50-50 deal. Neblett's got his left hand pushing Buchanan. You know, if a defensive back can't compete like that, you might as well play flag football, Sean.
Couldn't have said it any better. Penalty takes it to the UNI 49-yard line. See the tight end Farmer in motion. Zone read. This will be Roberson just ducking and avoiding the collision. DeAndre Hall was beelining in sharply toward number 5 there, and Roberson a wise decision to avoid the contact.
Well, a real wise decision at this point with a 27-point lead and only 17 minutes left in the game, and the expectations of going on to the next round, Sean, would be to try to limit the hits that Roberson takes. Okay, that is, don't call any plays that give him the option to keep the ball. Nickel defense in the game. Dexter's in at the slot corner here for UNI.
It's number 30. You see him start to creep up to the line of scrimmage. They give it to Copperidge, and look at the Missouri Valley Football Conference Offensive Player of the Year go to work all the way to the 18. 31 yards for Marshawn Copperidge.
UNI put their nickel in the game, expecting a pass on second and long, and they ran a pass rush game over there in the offensive left. Okay, with the end and the tackle exchanging lanes, that means they were out of position for the proper run fits. They really didn't even have to block anybody to get the ball into the secondary.
He has improved his strength and conditioning so much from last year. That's probably the biggest difference with Marshawn Copperidge.
You know, and that play, Sean, that previous play went back to the same idea about these Illinois State coaches with extra time to plan know that on second and long, when the Panthers go from their regular defense to nickel, they're usually going to run a pass rush game up front, and therefore they called the running play. Kurt Beathard, offensive coordinator's son of a long-time, highly successful NFL general manager, Bobby Beathard, and a great surfer on top of his game today.
Copperidge has exited the lineup. Towns replaces him. Roberson over the middle. He's made a living all afternoon. Another catch. John Mark Anderson first and goal to start the fourth quarter for Illinois State.
Third time that he's gotten the completion right over the ball down the middle against the Tampa 2 defense. The element of the Tampa 2 defense that they're defeating is the rules of the middle linebacker to run deep into the middle of the field to defend against deep balls. There is nobody in that zone.
It's been 15 years since Illinois State has hosted a playoff football game. 1999, they made it all the way to the semis. This year's group heading to the quarters. All Redbirds as we head to the fourth. The NCAA FCS Football Championship is brought to you by Northwestern.
Chattanooga leads Indiana State 35-14 in the fourth quarter. Coastal Carolina leads Richmond 36-8 in the fourth quarter. Sam Houston leads Jackson State 30-26 in the third quarter.
The NCAA FCS Football Championship is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. An overcast Saturday afternoon of FCS playoff football has belonged to the Redbirds, co-champions of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. They start at first and goal inside the 10-yard line. You see what they have done inside the red zone today. Ray Roberson and this high-powered offense, the number one offense in the Valley this year. 329 yards through the air, 3 touchdown passes. Quick little screen to Neblett. UNI reads it well. Farley with the hit, and then emerging with the football is Ray Buchanan Jr., and the Panthers, I believe, have come away with the game's first turnover.
Buchanan did a very nice job of defeating the stalk block by the outside receiver on this perimeter screen. You can see him stuff the blocker, comes off, and the pursuit from the inside, the power of the hit just knocks the ball loose, but it was set up by Buchanan getting that right shoulder into the blocker and setting the edge. It looks like all the makings of one of the matchups for next week are set, Sean, with both Chattanooga and New Hampshire winning. That should send Chattanooga to Durham, New Hampshire for the matchups between those two teams.
You saw the shot, the contact that Neblett absorbed, and he is wobbly as he leaves the game. And it's a key cog in this offense. He's the receiver that stretches the field for Illinois State.
And he's a high school 300-meter state champion, so that shows athletic ability as well as straight line speed to do that in the 300-meter hurdles.
Credit Omley and Farley with the jarring hit that created the fumble. Buchanan scoops and returns it to the 16. Here comes Cole Morgan on first down to David Johnson. Johnson pushes out past the 20. UNI's record holder, career rushing yards, all-purpose yards in a season, all-purpose yards in a career, plus rushing touchdowns in a career. You talk about durability, consistency, the only Panther ever to rush for 1,000 yards in 3 seasons, but he's had a tough go today.
He's going to be an invitee to some of these postseason all-star games, and he'll get a chance to show the NFL scouts what he can do against a ratcheted-up level of competition.
Flanker screen to Doris Fountain. You talk about speed. He's one of the fastest guys on the UNI roster.
Now, we'll see here, Sean, how UNI chooses to play this. At 34-7, they can either take a pass it on every down, try to score a bunch of touchdowns, or treat it like it's a blank scoreboard and just run their game plan as if it was 0-0.
Illinois State shows blitz. Here they come. Cole Morgan gets rid of it quickly, and the catch is made. A juggling grab by Chad Owens.
Number 19, Chad Owens. Gain of 7 yards on the play and a first down. Northern Iowa ball, first and 10 from the Panthers' 30-yard line.
The Panthers are pretty much in 4 wide receivers and go into not necessarily true no huddle, but a speeded up pace. And it looks like they're going to try to take a score all they can mode.
Down the seam, it's caught. Charles Brown with the reception. The longest play from the line of scrimmage in this football game for UNI.
They're going to go fast here. Charles' first catch in the last 2 games. He was put in there for his speed. He gets over the top and down the middle. Clearly he had a bad matchup there for Illinois State against Megan, the defensive linebacker, against Brown. Bad matchup.
37 yards on the strike to Charles Brown. Cole Morgan back to the airwaves, zips it, nobody home. He was thinking LeMaster, but those two not on the same page. UNI putting together a long drive here as the Panthers have taken it from their own 16 all the way to the Redbird 33, thanks to the right arm of Sawyer Cole Morgan. Again, the Redbirds show blitz. They send the linebacker, Cole Morgan, down the middle, caught. Owens hangs on despite the contact from Tevin Allen. Tough, over the middle running by Chad Owens.
Well, it shows that, number one, Owens has no trepidation of going into the middle of the field. And we've seen that Allen will put that big baseball bat on him when they get near him.
Screen, they come to LeMaster on the near side, picks up an Owens block. LeMaster dives to the 2. 13 yards, and just like that, UNI on the doorstep.
All right, Lehman comes back into the game to at least give him a tight end blocking side. They'll still have 3 wide receivers in the game, and Lehman in there as a potential blocker. And they're unbalanced now to the offensive left.
First and goal, they give it to Johnson. He will dance to the right into the end zone for the touchdown.
Very impressive drive shown by Cole Morgan. Gets the ball out of his hands quickly. He's on target. We can rest assured that's the offensive approach that we'll see for the rest of the game from UNI.
So the fumble, the recovery by the UNI defense and Ray Buchanan Jr., and then an impressive 84-yard drive orchestrated from Sawyer Cole Morgan. And David Johnson has found the end zone, his 49th rushing touchdown in his tremendous career at Cedar Falls. We started the day with 16 teams, still with hopes of a national championship. The first finals starting to come in from the early games. New Hampshire, the top seed, rolls by Fordham 44-19. How about the season for Chattanooga? The Mocs defeat Indiana State from the Missouri Valley Football Conference 35-14.
And to go along with this game, Sean, that's 3 impressive performances by the teams that had a bye.
This will be Tevin Allen from the 5, and he is crunched, and he lost the football, recovered by UNI. Number 1 coughed it up. Number 1, DeAndre Hall, recovered it.
Well, Sean, the hitter just became the hittee, and he got the same type of contact he's been dishing out. DeAndre Hall, a noted hitter, right there on the spot. We got something interesting going on here now.
Back-to-back turnovers for Illinois State. Don't look now, but a little life for Farley's Panthers. UNI from the 20-yard line. Cole Morgan the throw. Back of the end zone, incomplete. Banks with blanket coverage on Vereen.
Now that's quarters coverage. Okay, which what that simply means is that creates one-on-one on the outsides. Banks was well prepared for them to take a vertical shot right after a turnover against isolated coverage.
Always calm and cool and collect, Mark Farley. His team trying to scratch and claw their way back into it. Owens in motion, second down. It'll dump out, and it's tipped at the line, incomplete. Keoshin got a hand on it. That's an incomplete pass. Keoshin sticking his big left bear haul out to deflect it.
Well, he uses his athletic ability that we spoke about before as a converted running back, and then even though the whistle was blown, he ran 75 yards into the other end zone, kind of like a throwback play for him. Chance to have some fun carrying the ball. All he did was tire himself out, so he can't be in there to rush the passer on the next play.
Wanted to show those coaches he still had it.
Brown is back in the game to bring some speed over there on the left side.
Illinois State runs a stunt. End zone throw, and it's caught for the touchdown. Brett LeMaster. What a catch.
What a catch is right. Throw it on the back shoulder. LeMaster knew by the positioning of the defensive back that Cole Morgan was going to go to the back shoulder. He's prepared for it. That's a heck of a play.
Josh Birch could not have defended that any better. Maybe just turn the head, turn the neck would be the only thing, but LeMaster with a terrific catch, and Cole Morgan put the ball where it had to.
Well, that's why so many people say, boy, this back shoulder fade, or really a choice fade. Is he going to throw it over the top or throw it back shoulder? That's so difficult to defend.
Sawyer Cole Morgan started this season as the number 1 guy. He's back in that number 1 spot for the Panthers. Nothing can get you back into a football game quicker than turnovers. And it looked like Illinois State was going in for the knockout punch. Neblick gets knocked out on the hit by Farley. Buchanan picks up, and then David Johnson, the prolific running back, takes full advantage. And then on the ensuing kick, the hitter becomes the hittee. Allen rocked. Recovered by DeAndre Hall. And then a 20-yard touchdown pass, Sawyer Cole-Morgan to Brett LeMaster. And don't look now, but here comes UNI. The Panthers back in this football game with tons of time. 11:14 to play here in the fourth quarter. The NCAA FCS Football Championships presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Sean, 3 personnel changes that the UNI coaches have made have really paid off here in the second half. That is Buchanan at left corner, Cole Morgan at quarterback, and Brown in the slot receiver position. Good use of their personnel and willingness to change things when they're not going the way that they want them to.
Cole Morgan, 13 of 18 in the second half for 145 and the touchdown pass. Roberson and the Redbirds go back to work up the middle. Copprich into the secondary. See UNI ripping and scratching at the football, but not before Copprich takes it to midfield.
Once again, this Redbird offensive line rises to the challenge. They've had a heck of a day both in running the ball and pass protection. We don't cite their names like we do Roberson and Copprich, but those guys have really stepped up and elevated their game from the first meeting.
3 all-conference players on that front wall. Barton, the leader at right tackle, the first team. Ammons, the second team at right guard. Ligkey at left tackle, an honorable mention. This is Towns with the carry, and he is caught in the backfield. Tate Omley's played a pretty good football game. And on the stop for UNI. Mentioned Omley's name a couple of times, the backup safety.
Sean, one of the formulas for winning the game,
first down.
or the formula for winning the game in the fourth quarter, when you have a lead like this, is the ability to run the ball and rush the passer.
Omley made a nice play there, Al, but it looked like a hand got up around the face mask at Towns, so the 15-yarder marked off, and this takes it to the UNI 35.
Well, in this field position here, this is a perfect opportunity for the Redbirds to rely on that strong running game.
Copprich back in after taking a play off. Roberson on a design keeper. UNI sent the blitz with Busher, and that time Max Busher stayed home and swallowed up the middle of the field.
Yeah, they had the perfect pressure on for that one. It sent both inside linebackers in the 2 guard center gaps, the so-called A gaps. That's called a cross dog, Sean, and it's a blitz made very popular by its success back in the 90s and ever since by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Busher drops Roberson for a loss of 2, 2nd and 12. O'Shaughnessy, who has a touchdown catch in motion to the top of the screen. Roberson throws across the field, incomplete. Nobody home. DeAndre Hall with the coverage.
Well, on 3rd down and 12 here, clearly the Redbirds would like to make a first down, Sean, but the most important thing after 2 successive turnovers is do not turn the ball over, and at the very least, kick the ball down towards the goal line and create bad field position. That's how you want to manage the game.
Do you bring pressure if you're UNI?
I think you definitely, since they have not had much rush, and they're in a pressure look here to bring 5.
They rush 4, drop 1 back. Roberson with time, tipped and caught. Caught off the deflection by Meredith.
Really nice job by Meredith on the ground or just falling to the ground. Great job of staying with it. Jake Farley, that's one of the, if you want to change the game, not only could that be a knockdown, that's a potential intercept. Could have really flipped the field here.
You saw Farley's reaction as immediately he put his face mask to the turf. He knew he missed an opportunity, and then The opportunistic Cameron Meredith, his 7th catch of this game, 4 straight 100-yard receiving efforts. Coppridge over the left side, and he plows for 3. Williams and Hall bring him down.
Well, not only the strategy of this particular moment, but with the pounding running attack that Illinois State has had up until this point, it's got to wear down the defense some. They've been on the field a long time. They've had to take on a lot of blocks of this 300-pound plus offensive line. Keep on running it right here.
Using all of the play clock on the read. Coppridge nowhere to go. Snowed under 2 yards deep in the backfield. Busher, Dexter, and Alice all jumping on Marshawn Coppridge. So here we go again, another 3rd down. Third and 8 for the Redbirds, working against this breeze. They're normal this afternoon. Panthers rush 5, and they get to Roberson. He was hit just as he released it. Or did he release it? Officials indicating a fumble, and it's UNI football.
Well, that's the first time that the Panthers have brought this blitz, Sean. We can see that Dexter comes from the slot corner position, comes inside the outside rusher. The tackle chased the outside rusher, set him up on the inside. Well called, perfectly called at that particular time by Coach Mark Farley.
Dexter delivered the boom right before Roberson's right arm went forward. Busher recovered it. 3 fourth-quarter turnovers by Illinois State.
Right, just the point that was made before that play. The number one thing you want to do on that down at that field position with this score is don't jeopardize the ball.
Cole Morgan goes back to work underneath. Johnson with the catch. It's a minimal gain. Meehan had him spotted and shadowed the entire way.
Panthers are now going full-blown as quickly as they can. Play has already been signaled in.
Second and 6 for the Panthers. Trying to pull off the improbable. Johnson with some room. Across the 40, lowers the pads out near midfield.
Spencer Morgan anticipating zone cover. Cole Morgan anticipating zone coverage, has twice gone underneath to the very talented receiver coming out of the backfield, David Johnson. Good awareness by Cole Morgan to not force it.
4th catch, 26 yards on that last one. Owens is spun down. He lost the ball, but official's going to spot him down. Good open field tackle on a gain of 1.
Yeah, Devin Allen shows up once again out there in the perimeter.
Three fourth-quarter turnovers have opened up the door for UNI. Sawyer Cole Morgan trying to take advantage. Hit as he threw it. Johnson trying to sneak out of the backfield, but the pressure coming from Braden Prate.
Well, Braden Prate, you're right, was right up the middle, and Perkins off the left side was also coming free. It's a good thing he got rid of the ball when he did. They don't need the pressure with more than 4 when they've got Corwin and Perkins coming off the 2 edges.
Line holds up. Cole Morgan deep. LeMaster makes the catch, but he's out of bounds. Mike Banks, like he has done his entire career. Opposition usually looks at him as maybe a pickable target, but so tough.
Mike Banks knew exactly where he was on the field, Sean. He kept working the receiver over into the sideline, kept inside body position on him, so there was no place to throw the ball other than out of bounds. Savvy play by the veteran player.
UNI 4 of 8 on 4th downs this year.
And you know they'll be rushing hard on this. Here's the second part of that formula. Run it and rush the passer.
The season at stake. Cole Morgan initially had time and has a wide open receiver. Owens makes the catch at the 31, and we're starting to see this offensive line give the quarterback time to throw.
Against quarters coverage, which makes the safety responsible for Owens on a vertical route, he pushes up, gets the safety to fall off thinking it's a go pattern, Sean, breaks it to the sideline and was wide open. Just poorly played by the safety on that play.
New and fresh life for UNI. Down the seam, some contact. Meehan with a two-hand shove, and Sawyer Cole Morgan can't believe it. His target went flying, but no flag. It's a good defensive play.
If it works out for you, it's a good play. It was a good play for the linebacker with the shove. It was a bad play for the back judge who missed it.
See the Panthers up tempo, still an eternity of time, over 5.5 to play in this fourth quarter. Cole Morgan with a pocket. Home run ball, incomplete. Vereen trying to go up, and again, it's Mike Banks hit the coverage.
All right, well, we're certainly seeing Mike Banks, once again, knowing where he is, pushing the receiver towards the sideline, using his leverage right there. But Mike Banks did everything right there that Ray Buchanan did earlier and was called for pass interference. If they're going to call it once, they got to call it every time. That's their job.
And if you're UNI, you're looking opposite number 24 here. Cole Morgan steps, throws toward the end zone, jump ball, incomplete. Brown, the receiver, Tevin Allen, the safety, coming over to break it up. And another 4th down for UNI. What do you like here?
Well, what they need right here is 10 yards, not 30. So they need to get multiple receivers on the sticks, Sean. That means past the first down marker, at least 2 out of the 4, perhaps 3. There ought to be a specific pattern just for this situation.
Pressure from the edge, and they get to Cole Morgan. I'm not sure if he hit his own lineman or if the ball slipped free. It's still rolling. The officials finally blowing the whistle. Regardless of how they rule it, Illinois State's deep comes up with the stop.
Well, it sure didn't come out the way that he wanted it to. And, hey, there they are again. Corwin and Perkins both meeting at the same spot. Where's that spot been all day long? Wherever the quarterback is.
Let's go, baby! Let's go, Bird!
All right. Pass rush. One of the 2 key ingredients to the 4th down. Bail them out from that turnover. Sean, at this point with 5:18 left in the game, okay, this ought to be run the ball and run it hard.
What a difference a half makes, in particular this 4th quarter for Mark Farley and UNI.
Well, what a difference the quarterback play makes.
So Illinois State comes up with the defensive stop. Mentioned the hit coming from David Perkins, able to get to Cole Morgan in the nick of time. And now let's see if they're going to take another look at that last play. See the officials coming together with 5:18 to go. Greg Wilson, our referee.
Ball should be placed at the 30-yard line. 1st and 10, Illinois State.
So they're going to rule that an incomplete pass on 4th down. So the Redbirds take over at the 30 as they go to work on this clock. And you can bet Copperidge will be carrying it with both arms laser locked on the leather. He gets the call, gets to the outside. Copperidge slips free and is finally pushed out of bounds at the 43-yard line.
He showed his very good balance on that particular play by staying on his feet. Now, here's something that hopefully that the for the Panthers' sake that they're tuned into here, Sean, is that, as I mentioned earlier, he's exclusively a right-handed ball carrier.
There was a hold there, Al, real quickly. I thought I spotted something at the line of scrimmage. So holding on the Redbirds.
So, Sean, on plays going to the offensive left, okay, the defense can know the ball is going to be in the right hand of the runner. So if you're working towards the ball carrier with a strip necessary to give themselves a chance, this is the opportunity to try to go for the ball.
Tough afternoon for the Northern Iowa starting quarterback, Breon Carnes. Well, physically trying to battle through what appeared to be a lower leg injury. Trying to figure out this Redbird defense. Copperidge on first down. Start to keep an eye on the clock here as we wind it down inside 5 minutes. And again, UNI with all 3 timeouts.
And they're going to take one right here.
What's the mindset? Well, we'll get to that in a moment.
Timeout.
Farley's Panthers trying to put together a ferocious fourth quarter rally. Redbirds trying to hang on. Fours are wild on the game clock. Fourth quarter, UNI trying to make one last second push here. Sean Kenny alongside Al Groh. We saw Northern Iowa use that last timeout. Take us through the mindset of how you utilize and maximize your remaining timeouts.
Well, Sean, at this time, the clock as much as an opponent for each side as the team on the other side is. In this particular case, with its 2nd and 19, by taking a timeout, they dictate what the play is going to be. That is, it's going to be a running play, so that they have to take another timeout. Now the Panthers have chosen not to take a timeout. They'll have 2 left. What you think about at this time, too, is offensively you can stop the clock with first downs and incompletions. Okay, you cannot stop the clock defensively any other way than calling a timeout. With every 40 seconds that you save in your 2-minute drill, you can expect to run 2 to 3 plays. And that's what you want to be able to maximize if you're in the Panthers' position. How many plays do we get to run 13 points behind?
Illinois State keeps it on the ground with Copperidge over the right side. McMakin drags him down. So UNI will get the football back. 2 timeouts left here in Normal in a rematch of a November 1st game back in Cedar Falls that saw the Panthers win 42-28. A different story here, but the turnovers in this second half giving the Panthers an opportunity.
Illinois State will take the full 40 seconds here, 9 seconds left.
C.J. Laros on to punt for the second time. Rugby-style kick. Takes a bounce for Owens. Chad Owens running to the short side. Gets out of bounds at the 44.
Good field position. They need 2 scores, so they have to get one quickly, Sean, which means those easy completions underneath the defense will only play to the Illinois State advantage, using time or causing the Panthers to call timeout. So there's going to have to be some throws up the field, knowing whether it's an inside breaking route or an outside cut, a first down will stop the clock. So they can utilize the whole field here.
It's been all Sawyer Cole-Morgan for UNI in this second half. 17 of 28, 194 yards and a touchdown. Empty backfield, they throw it. That's
Double
a backwards pass. Yes, LeMaster on a throwback across the field, and it's intercepted by Teddy Corwin.
Teddy Corwin, the All-Missouri Valley Conference defensive end, who has been a pass-rushing force today, saw it coming all the way, slid to the outside. He was between Sawyer Cole-Morgan, the intended receiver, and the passer. A cute play, Sean, but I would say as hot as Sawyer Cole-Morgan has been up to this point, throwing the ball up the field, I'll fall back on that old adage: runners run, catchers catch, throwers throw.
Corwin with 6 tackles today, and now he comes up with the Redbirds' first takeaway. What an offseason. He had made so many strides in the spring and summer in the weight room, gained 20 pounds. And first person he credited was the strength coach, Jim Lathrop, who's no stranger to the weight room. He's been a part of some successful programs through the years.
Clock operator, please reset the clock to 2:58, 2:58.
And here he comes up with the play of the game as UNI tried to reach into the bag of tricks, and it backfired for the Panthers.
Well, no doubt we'll see successive runs here, both for the intent of gaining yardage and running the clock out, but also to make Northern Iowa use their timeouts.
Poprich surrounded on first down.
Well, they're not going to use it after first down, so they will clearly use it after second and third down.
Illinois State making their 5th playoff appearance. Lost in the quarterfinals in 2012 to Eastern Washington. 2006 lost in the quarters to Youngstown State.
Well, they might find themselves back out there against Eastern Washington, showing the number 4 seed is playing Montana later today.
Poprich over the left side, nowhere to go. He had his door shut. McMakin. Third down.
Timeout, Northern Iowa. That's their second timeout. That's a 30-second timeout.
UNI will use their second timeout. It's a game of decisions. Play calling, where to go, and you go back to UNI on that first down play, trying to go with LeMaster, the receiver. And the heads-up play by Teddy Corwin. So in a game that has featured a lot of offensive firepower by Illinois State's trio of Roberson, Poprich, and Cameron Meredith, it was Brock Spack and his defense that came away with what might be the play of the game, preventing a possible UNI rally late.
During his years with Joe Tiller, Sean, of course, Joe brought really wide open passing to the Big Ten. Had great quarterbacks like Drew Brees.
Look at this. Roberson's going to throw. Has his man. O'Shaughnessy. Touchdown.
Well, I'm sure that Kurt Beathard called that play, but okayed by Brock Spack, and that's a Joe Tiller looking call in that situation. Brock picked up a few things by being around Joe, but you know, when he was the defensive coordinator, even in a pass-oriented offense, he coached some very good defenses over there, and they played good defense today and unpredictable offense.
They call James O'Shaughnessy Mr. Clutch. His resume proves it. A couple of second-half touchdown grabs earlier this year to fend off Western Illinois. And here he has touchdown grab number 2 against UNI.
Well, we have an inexperienced safety in there, Tate Omley, replacing the veteran Tim Guilfoy. He had his eyes in the backfield. He was guessing on what the play would be instead of reading his keys, and his team paid a 7-point price for that.
So a career-high day for O'Shaughnessy in the yardage as we take a look at previous FCS National Championship teams. North Dakota State, can anybody dethrone the Bison? They've had a lock hold the past 3 years. Last team to do it, Eastern Washington back in 2010. Villanova back in the picture this year. They were champs in 2009.
Villanova will kick off here in about 30 minutes with Liberty. Sean, they're one of the last of the seeded teams to start the playoffs.
2 receivers over 100 yards for Brock Spack's Redbirds. Meredith with 115, and then O'Shaughnessy with that last touchdown. 4 catches, 105 yards. Each of those guys with a couple of touchdowns. O'Shaughnessy was one of our impact players coming in, and the big tight end out of Naperville North, delivering what appears to be the final blow to the UNI Panthers. David Johnson playing hard all the way to the end, takes it out to the 46.
You know, Sean, every year when the March Madness starts, the pundits are always saying that the teams with the good point guards, that is the guys who handle the ball, are the teams that have a chance to go deep into the playoffs. And so too is it in these FCS playoffs. Teams with the guy who's going to handle the ball and distribute it, the quarterback. That's the position, with everything else being equal, can clearly differentiate the teams. And as good as Sawyer Cole-Morgan has been here in the second half, it's been Trey Roberson who has stood out as the difference maker.
First down throw. Banks ends up with it out of bounds. Mike Banks making his 47th consecutive start.
A lot of standouts on that Redbird defense today, but none more so than Banks out there at the weak side corner.
The ends have been as good as advertised with Corwin and Perkins. Both have made a difference on the defensive side of the ball. Tough to run inside with Crate and Keoshin, although this time Miller has a little bit of a daylight seam, and he takes it for double-digit yardage. See Roberson with a career-high throwing 382 yards through the air. He spread it out early. Set the tone on the opening drive, and he never looked back. Charles Brown unable to hang on. They're going to say incomplete. Second down and 10.
They're going to rule that he really never completed the catch, that while he was running with the ball, he had not really secured it all the way.
Frustrated look on the face of Breon Carnes. Not how he had envisioned today. He played the entire first half.
Look, when you're the quarterback, Sean, everybody on the team is always watching you, whether you're in the game or not. And this is a time for Breon to get up there with the rest of his team and show that the result is important to him.
Brown hangs on to the football to make the catch, only long enough to fumble it as it's stripped away. Turnover number 2, and Illinois State in the city of Normal getting ready to celebrate.
Young player, Brown, sophomore receiver, will get his chances next year. Has shown some vertical speed and ability to make plays today. Panthers won't be looking for silver linings today, but as they go into the offseason, the performance of Cole-Morgan at quarterback and Brown as a young receiver are two things that stand out as very positive things for the future as they conclude what really has to be considered a successful season, the way they fought back.
Victory formation for Illinois State as they get set to move into the quarterfinal round of the 2014 FCS playoffs. A fantastic career coming to an end in David Johnson, the senior from Clinton, Iowa. All sorts of records for UNI. But as you mentioned, here's a guy that could very easily be spotted on Sunday afternoons in the short future.
Well, he's very well thought of. A lot of positives about him. As I said earlier, he's going to get his chance, not with the rest of his teammates, but in some of these all-star games to play some more football and to show the scouts exactly what he's capable of.
Illinois State is going to make it a perfect 13-0 here at Hancock Stadium since the renovations last September. They'll improve to 8-0.
Well, the biggest renovation that they've made around here, Sean, is to put Trey Roberson in at quarterback. And you could be playing with wooden stands out there with this guy at quarterback, and you'd have a real good chance to win.
The Missouri Valley Football Conference Coach of the Year. Mutual respect between those two. In fact, Brock Spack told us a few years back when he shook hands with Craig Bohl, the successful coach at North Dakota State, the first thing Bohl told him, you have a chance to win it all when you go through the grinds of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. And now Spack has put his Redbirds in a position.
Well, they look like a team, but they'll keep playing the way they did. Sean, nobody's going to have much fun playing against them.
Will it be Montana or Eastern Washington? That question remains to be answered. That's the story from Normal. For Al Groh, I'm Sean Kinney saying so long. Illinois State 41, UNI 21. To watch this game on replay as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Good afternoon from Normal. Hey, Coach, congratulations. Sean Kinney, Al Groh here.
Well, thank you very much. It was we kind of made it interesting there in the second half, but pulled it out.
Well, Brock, congratulations. And, hey, the players did a great job. That guy off to your left was spectacular today. Your defense played real Brock Spack defense. Saw that many years over there at Purdue. But also congratulations to you and your coaching staff. It was very clear you took full advantage of the extra time to prepare and game plan these guys based on their tendencies. That was a terrific job of getting your team ready.
Yeah, our coaches did a great job, and obviously Five's a special player, and we had to find a way to crack Tampa too, as you know. You're a long-time NFL coach, and it can be a hard coverage to crack. And we had some things we did and executed better than we did last time we played them. But our players did a nice job today.
Yeah, you really threw the ball very effectively into the middle of the field.
Yeah, that was our plan going in the game, and that's where Tampa is kind of try to put a little bind on the seam players and the mic, and that's what we did. So,
Coach, congratulations. Good luck next week, Montana or Eastern Washington.
Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Trey, talk us through the adjustments you made from this second meeting with UNI compared to the first go-around. You had a tough time with the Panthers back in early November. What was the big difference maker for you to have this type of day?
Well, the difference was just working with the coaches and really learning the offense. I'm feeling more comfortable in the offense. I know where to go with the ball, and I know what they expect. And then the offensive line, and they played their butts off today. You see, they had a lot of time to throw the ball, and receivers made plays, and the running backs ran hard. So I got to give all the glory to them and God.
Well, you're going to be a tough out for the rest of these playoffs, not only playing the way that you did today, Trey, but preparing. Okay, the preparation was as impressive as the performance on the field today.
Yeah, this week, I got in a couple times with Coach Beathard and got some extra work in film-wise, so I was totally prepared, and we had a great game plan. All I had to do was come out and execute.
The former Indiana Hoosier now has guided Illinois State into the quarterfinals. Go enjoy this one and get ready for next week.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Trey. The co-champions of the Missouri Valley Football Conference march into the quarterfinals. Illinois State able to knock off Northern Iowa in the second meeting between the two programs, 41-21. Sean Kinney alongside Coach Al Groh, and we talked about the challenges for each coaching staff getting ready to face a team for the second time, and you thought the preparation was near perfect for Illinois State.
The Illinois State coaching staff took full advantage of their extra time to get ready. They had a great game plan. They took advantage of the tendencies. The team was well prepared, and both the coaches and the players really performed today on game day.
Talk about performance. They set the tone on the opening drive. The former Indiana Hoosier Trey Roberson, as good as advertised, and on the opening drive, able to hit Cameron Meredith a couple of times, showing some arm strength and mobility.
Well, he just joined the program in August, Sean, and every day, every week, he's had the opportunity to go deeper into the playbook with his reads and his choices. He's just maturing within this system, and he was tough today.
Meredith with 2 touchdown catches, and then the tight end O'Shaughnessy with a couple of touchdowns as well. And this one sealed the deal when it looked like you and I might be getting back into it. Everybody was thinking run except for Roberson and O'Shaughnessy, and Mr. Clutch comes down with the touchdown grab. Offensive numbers put up today by the Redbirds, 564 yards. You see you and I with 335, a lot of that because of Sawyer Cole-Morgan.
This is a good defensive team at Illinois State that can run the ball and pass the ball. They're going to be in this. They're going to be hard to beat in these playoffs.
13 in a row here at the renovated Hancock Stadium in Normal. Illinois State into the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs.